Hello, everyone. Before we get started on this week's episode, just a quick word that YouTube, in all its infinite wisdom, has decided that some of the Die Party games are now not suitable for advertising. It doesn't mean a whole lot for the content. I'm not going to censor the videos in any way, but if you'd like to lend your support so that Die Party can continue to grow, please check out the Patreon or subscribe on the Twitch channel. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Die Party Abyss, a Hollow-Earth Expedition role-playing game right here on Twitch. Modified Hollow-Earth role-playing game Expedition. We'll get it. We'll work on it. Hey, everyone. Let's introduce everyone who's playing with us today, because we got some new faces and we got some old faces. So let's start off with none other than Mr. Drummer Boy himself. Drummer Boy, what up, sir?
Hey, what up? I guess all you need to know about me is I make music for the internet.
Yes, you do.
I do it on my channel on Drummer Boy, twitch.tv/Drummer Boy, Monday mornings and Wednesday mornings, CST. And then you've probably heard my music on Roleplay, Roll20, Once Upon a Game, AP Gaming Reel, a few other places around Twitch, and most of it's available on Fanburst, so you can use it in Roll20 if you want.
Nice.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that for now? What if I was to say I've been streaming for 4 or 5 years now? How long have you been making music for, sir?
As a hobby for about 12 or 13 years, but professionally for the last 4 years.
Okay. And what made you take the leap of faith?
It's the only thing I'm good at, so try to find out how to make money at it.
I sucked at making coffee for people, and I generally hate interacting with human beings. What can I do for a living? Something that you love. That's the secret.
Well, I did construction for a while, and I was in bands for a while, and I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, so I'm just like, let's write music, and I like video games and film, so let's try to write music for those.
And what about your role-playing, history? Have you done much of it?
I started 2 months ago.
Nice, perfect.
Yep.
No problems there. Welcome to not Dungeons and Dragons.
That's fine. I played story games first on with Eric, and then my first real dice game was Sprawl that we're playing on Saturdays. So.
Oh yeah.
That's
nice.
about it.
All right, cool. So let's go over to everyone's favorite daddy, Sheepdog Gaming, with the beard and a working camera that apparently just decided to work.
Just decided to start working. Hey guys, I'm Sheepdog. My beard's back.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I record videos, I forget to turn my microphone on.
Yeah, that sucks.
For 40 minutes of recording, which was fucking gold. And then I have to record another video, which is not quite as good, but still funny.
Yeah. You piece of shit.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to lately, Sheep? I mean, the last time we saw you on a Die Party game was
The
Omen?
End of Omen.
Yeah, the end of Omen. Yeah, which was, I don't know.
Funny. It was a great ending.
It was a great ending, but I think, what was it, like a month ago now? Something like that, maybe? I don't know. It's been a while.
I've gone back into Blood Bowl. So,
So I thought we weaned you off that shit.
Turns out it's the only thing people will actually watch me play.
So video games are now work. Great.
Yeah, turns out.
Nice.
Yeah, aside from that, I've just been doing the standard crappy content. And getting locked out my Twitch.
Yeah, that's
chat.
Impressive.
If you've got one called Poop Master General in the chat, that's me currently.
Okay. Up next, we have Mr. Doc Gast back for another healthy helping of Die Party. Shit. You're on Polyrhythm too now. Like you're rocking 2 games right now. So
Yeah, it's getting up there. It's good.
wait until you
Gives
get to
me something to
4,
do.
and then you're just like, oh man, I need to do something different with my life. But
I mean, I already think that.
yeah.
It's just like, wow, this is what I'm doing with my day today, huh? I could be dead instead. That would be alright.
Jesus. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we haven't even got to Graham yet, so you want to talk about like yeah, but what have you been up to? I mean, the first episode of Polyrhythm happened last week, and it was fucking excellent. What have you been doing since
It was
then?
pretty good. I've been playing Ark. So a friend put up a Ragnarok server. The game itself is exactly the same. It's got all the same grind and stuff in it, but we transferred our characters over from an old server, so we're all at level 100 with like high level dinos
but
and stuff, and
what's
it's just
the
a
point?
ton of awesome exploring.
Okay,
This is like it's one of those hands-tailored maps. There's like ice caves, and you go through it, and there's like, oh, this ice wall looks a bit different. You break it, and there's some dude in there that froze to death while trying to huddle around a torch. It's a really well-made map.
Nice.
The 2/3 of it that's available.
Yeah,
they're
we
kind of
played
releasing it in
Scorched
chunks.
Earth a little bit, and it was
Half of the map is scorched earth. There's like the bottom corner is all scorched earth, but that's locked off at the moment. And then this corner is like scorched earth, but it's an island thing, which is kind of weird, but it works.
yeah.
And then the top is just like normal.
Yeah, well, 2 Die Party games in a row, and excited to have you on for this one. Also, for the first time ever, Sheepdog gets to just play himself in this game, so we'll see how that goes. And last but not
Like a
least,
Nazi.
last but not least, we have Mr. Graham Complete. What up, sir? Last we saw you were GMing Omen, and now you're back as a player.
Yes, I am also a middle-class white man with a beard.
Yeah, it's. I mean, this is a gentleman's club. For I mean, it has to be. It's a fucking pulpy game. It's run by white people, so.
Well, so be it.
So be it. What have you been up to, man? Made any videos recently?
Yeah, I make things on a channel called Always Be Making, which is my motto. It's also the name of the channel. The last video I put up, I basically designed a recipe for wheat bread from scratch.
Yeah, I saw that one, or the start of it, at least, anyway.
Yeah, and I was proud of that. I'm getting there. The more practice I get, the better it'll get.
Yeah.
Yep. So working on that, teaching. That's what I do.
Awesome. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now that we've introduced everyone and everyone feels happy about themselves, let's talk about what Hollow Earth is. So, Hollow Earth Expedition is a pulp game that originally used a what can only be described as a system that basically means 50% of the time you pass and 50% of the time you fail. It wasn't the complexity. It was a complex game with a dice system that was very unfitting to what the system was trying to do. Basically, you would you'd flip a coin. If you got heads, you'd pass, and you'd flip 6 coins to do a skill check, and you would need 4 or 3 heads to pass. It was really simple, and it wasn't great fun. So what I've done, there is actually a drawing board episode on this if you want to go check it out. We changed the system, at least the dice mechanics over. Everything in the actual game itself is 100% the same. So attributes, all that sort of stuff still work. We changed it over to a D10 system, very similar to the one in Old World of Darkness, where it's a D10 system with the difficulty scaling between the 4 and a 10. So it's going to be an interesting experiment, to say the least. I'm pretty confident in it. We actually went ahead and made changes to the character sheet on Roll20, so a lot of what you're actually going to see is actually just players picking the attributes and rolling them. Sorry, I'm also on Puppy Patrol right now. making sure that my dog doesn't eat his stitches. So if you see me reach off screen or get distracted for a moment, that's what's happening. Silly bugger. With that in mind, we're going to go through the standard character creation for Hollow Earth Expedition. Now, if you don't know about the theme for Hollow Earth Expedition, it's fucking amazing. Basically, inside the Earth's crust, there is a whole nother world. Basically, imagine the Earth, and now imagine the inside of the crust is able to be walked on, and the very center of Hollow Earth is a sun, another sun. So in Hollow Earth, there are dinosaurs, there are like ancient tribes, the lost city of Atlantis is down there somewhere. Basically anything that you imagine to be within the pulp fiction can be found down there. It's a very Indiana Jones, punch a Nazi in the stomach and throw him off a moving tank sort of game. And the system emulates that pretty well, aside from the dice, which, you know, we should have corrected by now.
Stop eating that. Thank you.
Dog. So we're going to go through and do that now. Does everyone have access to the book in front of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so head to page, if you could, page 36. So we're going to go through each of these steps. There are basically 9 steps, but you know we'll go through each of them individually before we can create characters. So maybe we can go around and sort of give an idea of what the concept of these characters are going to be. I guess Graham, we'll start with you since you sort of have one fleshed out. Get it?
Yeah, no, that's very funny. I'm impressed. Yeah, my character, who I've already pretty much thought of, sought out, you know, fleshed out, whatever you want to call it, is from East Africa in the Sudan. And during World War One, so the Sudan had, in the time period, had a very large British population, and so my character is fairly Anglican, but also fairly tan, so sort of mixed. And as World War One sort of loomed as a teenager, I defected northward to Egypt, and then from there to Turkey, or to what is now Turkey, and fought in World War One as a field medic for the Ottoman Empire. Okay, which were, you know, technically part of the Central Powers.
Yeah.
You know, bad guys, whatever you want to call them. From there, as a field medic, I became traveling to the Orient during the interim between World War One and now, and learning all sorts of bizarre techniques for herbalism, and I basically become a master of flesh grafting. You know, taking flaps of skin from unused places and pasting it over other places. And sort of my goal, or what I've written down for my motivation, is finding or using that and searching the Hollow Earth for medical miracles. So herbs, spices, bizarre plants, whatever, what have you. And sort of my goal that I have in my head is to graft another limb to a person so they have 3 limbs.
End goal.
Are you the fucking villain?
Maybe. So who wants to volunteer their character concept next?
I mean, I have one if you want it.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Everyone's thinking. Okay, so he is a big game hunter.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is what I'm talking about.
Not quite the tally-ho and pip-hip style though. Basically, he spent some time in Africa where he discovered a skill for killing things really well. Some of those things were people. If he hadn't have become a hunter of
the most dangerous
beasts,
game,
he would have just become a serial killer. So it turns out, if you're really good at killing things cleanly, people will pay you for well-preserved corpses.
So are you a poacher more than a big game hunter?
I mean, he calls himself a big game hunter. He's viewed as a big game hunter. People will like, hey, we need you to get us a fresh giraffe because our old one is rotten. Oh, all right, and off he'll go.
Is he the big game hunter in Jumanji?
That's actually what the character's name is.
Nice.
The character's name is Jonathan Hyde, and Jonathan Hyde is the actor who played Van Pelt in Jumanji.
Fuck
Nice.
yes, perfect.
Nice.
All
But
right,
yes,
who wants?
he's a bit of a crazy hunter guy.
Who wants to go next? What do we got?
I can go.
Okay.
My dude is, I have a name, Francis Jackson. He's going through Yale for his doctorate in ancient history, and got
Ooh, an
obsessed with
academic. Nice.
got obsessed with Hollow Earth and got laughed out of Yale. So basically,
Perfect.
he's just on his own studying, trying to find whatever means he can, and most of the resources are in German because guess what, Nazis.
Yeah,
So
the Third Reich loves to get their hands on some pretty powerful artifacts, and it just so happens that Atlantis is generally the key for that shit. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
yeah, but that's about it. Just a guy obsessed with the Hollow Earth and like ancient civilizations. So like maybe he's after Atlantis or something.
Maybe.
I don't know yet.
All right, Sheeby, what do you got for us, mate?
My guy is Lord Charles Cromwell Abernathy.
Okay. Yeah.
He was a colonel in World War One in British Army, running people out of the trenches. You know, tally ho, pip pip.
So
Woo.
we've got the pip hip tally ho.
Yeah, we got it. And
We had to have at least one of them.
Yeah.
he studied at the chair of British military tactics, which is throw bodies at Germans until the Germans die. And after that, he joined the Secret Service in Britain
MI6. Nice.
to basically cement British rule in the world, you know, in the colonies and everywhere.
So what does he have to do with Hollow Earth? Like, what is his motivation there?
Oh, well, you know, if there's a territory Britain doesn't control,
You want to colonize Hollow Earth?
yeah,
That is, I love that. Okay, perfect.
pursuing British interests in Hollow Earth, mate. You know?
All right, perfect. Well, the first step for character creation, guys, is we need to come up with an archetype. There is a big list of them on starting on page 39. And I think the very first one, Andrew, one that's perfect for you, academic.
Sure.
Yeah. These will give you basically, if you play to your, so it's a pulp game.
Yeah. So you play the character pretty much.
Yeah, so it stereotypes play a big role in Hollow Earth Expedition. They call them archetypes, but really they're stereotypes because if you play into them, I'm going to reward you with a thing called style points, which will allow you to do great things. So finding an archetype that fits your character is ideally what you want to do. And you can, for example, you don't have to just go with academic. You can go like very detailed into your archetype if you wanted to. For example, you could be ancient historian, might be a great one for you if you wanted to do that. Or you can do something else that fits your character. But as long as you play to that archetype, you'll be fine and you'll get extra stuff.
Cool.
So, does anyone have one they've picked out already?
Field doctor, field medic.
So
Mine's pretty basic for me as well.
yeah.
It's
What, explorer?
Wouldn't it be Hunter?
Hunter. Sorry, yeah, Hunter. I didn't hear
it's
that.
just a big game hunter just down there. So
Yep. Mm-hmm.
it's like, well, yep, that makes sense.
Soldier. Yep, that makes sense. And that's everyone, I guess. Yeah, cool. So the second part that we need to do is motivations. So Graham already picked his out. Motivations is like what you're attempting to do, your goal, your plot, whatever you want to go with. And these generally tie into why you want to go into Hollow Earth. So, for example, if money or greed is your motivation, then pillaging Hollow Earth is sort of the motivation that your character would generally have. What was yours again, Graham?
Well, based on what it says here, it's sort of a combination of duty and truth.
Interesting.
Specifically to find more useful or efficient medical practices, medical miracles is what I wrote down.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Because yours is like you want to find stuff, right? So I guess maybe truth might be the closest one, right? Like finding things. Maybe even power might fit.
Oh yeah, I mean like the power to do,
You want people to have an extra limb, so
yeah, that's power. I mean the power to like bring back from the dead, for example, would be a truth thing.
Yeah, and much like the the stereotype that you picked out, motivations will also give you style points if you play into them as well. So think about that before you make a decision. Does anyone else have one picked out?
I'm a little bit torn between greed and survival. Like survival kind of has the thing that you earn star points when your character.
What about fame?
Yeah,
I would
think save someone's life.
I would think fame might fit your character more than anything. Like if you want to bring back like a trophy.
I mean, he's a mass murderer. I don't think he wants people to really know him.
Okay, well, I mean, big game hunter is more like you want to have a trophy on your wall, right? Or is that not something that your character would be motivated with? Is he more like?
No,
is he more like
really
he's
do it for the trophies?
thrill?
He does it just to kill things.
Okay,
he just wants to kill stuff.
Interesting.
And get away with it.
Mm-hmm. So maybe survival, I think, might be your way to do.
Yeah.
Like, would you say that given a situation where your character is against all odds, you would thrive? Is that what you're saying?
I think he would thrive, yes, but he wouldn't really be too concerned if somebody else didn't.
Yeah. So in a situation like that, survival would play a part. So yeah.
All right, I guess survival works then.
Yeah. I'm interested in what Andrew and Sheep have though. What have you guys come up with?
I'm kind of flipping back and forth between truth and revenge.
Ooh, like you want to find proof about Hollow Earth to get revenge on people who kicked you out of Yale?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's actually really cool. Like something super concrete that without a doubt proves everything that you was touting. That's
crazy, but I do.
Yeah, that's actually really strong. I like that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with revenge. It's just more fun.
Yeah. And Sheep, what do you got, mate?
Duty to king and country.
So you actually want to like establish a connection from Hollow Earth that Britannia, the great
Britannia,
he's gonna go plant that flag.
Yeah. So yours would be more like create a forward operating base inside of Hollow Earth and then send
oppress the natives.
Yes, exactly. Why not? That works.
Subdue, not oppress. Subdue.
Yeah. Cool.
You're not going to go with civilize?
Civilize, yeah.
Takes a while to civilize them. You have to subdue them first.
Mm-hmm.
Get those narco berries or whatever they're called.
Just run around punching them so they all love you.
Basically.
I mean, it worked in India.
So far,
yeah. Okay, so the next one that we need to do is, I believe, attributes. So I believe that we have to roll these. or do we have a pool that we pick from?
Should be. Well, it says 1-to-1. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
you get 15 attribute points to spend.
Yes, with one
You
being
need
the
at
lowest.
least one, no more than 5.
Yep. So basically, the attributes are as follows for everyone playing at home. The basic ones are. Let's pull up my dear character that I've made here. Body, dexterity, strength, charisma, intelligence, and willpower. And they are generally what you think they are. So the way that the skills work in this game is you will take your primary attributes and you combine a few of them together to create your secondary attributes, which in this instance are size, initiative, or not size, but initiative, move, defense, perception, and stun. Now, mixing these two together is sort of where the meat and potatoes of this game comes together. So, for example, defense is very, very useful. You have a passive defense and an active defense in this game. And combine those two together, plus your size gives you your defense rating. So a passive defense is your body score, and your active defense is your dexterity. And you plus those two together and with size. And you might, like, for example, you can get a gargantuan talent later on, which would change your size, which would give you a negative to your to your defense because of the fact that it would give you a positive. Sorry, I'm thinking of attacking rolls. Sorry. It would give you a positive to your defense, and that's basically how it's calculated. There are some things in this game, like for example, if you get if you're aiming a rifle and you get attacked, you will only your passive defense counts, which is just your body score. So that's how it breaks down when it comes to like defending things. And the way that the system actually works is the attacker will roll his dice, and then you will roll your defense pool, which is generally defense plus modifiers, like how much cover you're in, and what type of armor you have, for example. And you roll those together, and the higher wins, basically. So that's it in a nutshell. Was there any particular ones that you wanted to know about? I've got them all here. So hang on, let me just really go through them. I guess so. Your movement is how far you can move per turn. That's strength and dexterity. So is there anything that you guys want to really focus on in terms of skills or secondary attributes that you want to know about?
My guy's probably going to be intelligent.
So initiative, for example, is a mix of dexterity and intelligence, and perception is a mixture of intelligence and willpower. So if you wanted to be particularly perceptive, which might be helpful for you to do research or find clues or anything like that, perception might be something that you want to work towards. Skills, on the other hand, they don't necessarily take too much of your primary attributes. Like you won't, for example, your skill rating won't include, for example, firearms is a dexterity skill, right? But when you roll firearms, you don't roll dexterity plus firearms. You're just rolling firearms. But how much dexterity you have creates the upper limit as to how much your firearms can go up to, if that makes any sense. It creates the ceiling for your skills. So that's something also to take into account. Stun is your body rating. Defense, as I said before, is body plus dexterity minus your size. Health is body plus willpower plus size. And that's pretty much all you need to know.
Okay.
It's probably worth noting that talents can change your skill level.
Yeah,
as well, so you can increase things a little bit further down the line.
Like you can get there are talents in this game that allow you to get additional defense whenever you're in cover, or things like that. Basically, very situational stuff.
I mean, you can just take something like as simple as charismatic plus 1 charisma.
Yeah.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. It's also worth pointing out, if you do not have, if for any point that I ask you to roll intelligence, for example, or roll straight dexterity, you actually roll ×2. So whatever your dexterity modifier is, you times that by 2 and you roll that as your total pool. So if you put it as a 2, you'll be rolling 4 dice, essentially. Was there any particular questions you guys had?
You have 15 points total to spend.
That's right, with a minimum of 1 of each. So basically you have 10 points to spend. Or no, 9 points to spend, I guess. Maximum of 5. So for example, if you wanted to be particularly smart and have your academic skill represented by your intelligence, the maximum that you can have in a skill will be your skill is your base attribute plus 5 if your intelligence is 5. So you could have that is the maximum that you can put a rating into. So you could have a total of 10 when you roll on an academic-based skill if your intelligence is 5.
Might also be worth scrolling down to talents and seeing prerequisites, just in case there's something there you want, so that you don't have to go back later and change things.
Yeah, I mean, we can flux a little bit when it comes to that sort of stuff, but... It's also worth pointing out that there is specializations and disciplines that you can pick with each skill. Like, for example, larceny is a skill in this game, but the specializations include lockpicking, pickpocketing, safecracking, security, and sleight of hand. Like, you can specialize in any one of those. So whenever you do that thing, that counts as an additional dice added to your score. So you can have you can specialize, and then basically your larceny skill becomes, you can increase your basic larceny, and then you can also increase your safe cracking skill. And they're 2 different skills, but whenever you do safe cracking, it'll include your larceny plus your safe cracking. Everyone's busy.
I'm done.
You're done? What have you got, Graham? Let's get an idea of where you put your primary attributes.
All right, body 2, average, I guess.
Yeah, that's average.
3, strength 1, charisma 2, intelligence 5, willpower 2.
So you said you put strength 3?
Dexterity 3, strength 1.
Okay. Ooh, wow. You won't be able to carry a whole lot.
Okay.
Wait, is there actual encumbrance rules?
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Cool.
We won't be observing it too much, but anything like excessive, like for example, if your strength is 1, it might.
I want to carry the whole chest out.
Yeah, I'd be like, probably not. No.
I've got my primary attributes done.
Oh yeah, what do you got?
I have body 3, charisma 3, strength 3, intelligence 1, dexterity 1, willpower 4.
Interesting. Why the high willpower?
I see him as kind of, a fairly hard to break, stubborn idiot.
So it's kind of interesting because charisma is something that is used to influence NPCs and stuff like that, and lead allies and whatnot. So that's something that might come up with your character.
Yeah,
maybe.
well, I figured, he's leading people to inevitable death in the First World War, so he probably needed to be able to, at least a little bit convince them.
It's also worth pointing out this game takes place in 1936, just before World War II breaks out. So
Yeah.
And Doc or Andrew?
Yep.
Good.
Yep. I've got body 3, dexterity 4, strength 3, charisma 1, intelligence 2, willpower 2.
All right. And drummer, what you got?
Got body 2, charisma 1, dexterity 3, intelligence 5, strength 1, willpower 3.
Interesting. Some sacrifices were made in order to do that. All right, so
Yep.
let's go through the secondary attributes real quick. Make sure everyone has all that up to date. So, size, everyone put 0. It should already be there, but just in case, put 0. Your move is your strength plus your dexterity. And this will be, I guess, we'll just take that as feet. We'll just use feet to represent that. So, and each turn is 6 seconds. So that's basically your
Standard
movement.
D&D.
Standard D&D stuff. Make it nice and simple. Perception is intelligence plus willpower.
Mm-hmm.
Initiative is dexterity plus intelligence. And defense is body plus dexterity. Your stun is equal to your body rating. And your health is body plus willpower. Once you've got your HP can be found underneath there's a current and then the wound scale and then there's maximum. Just make sure you fill out both of those with your maximum HP. Okay, next is skills. These represent your training and stuff like that you have. So skill levels represent the maximum ceiling that you can have. So basically, when you pick a skill, there's a big list of them. They have an attribute which is connected to them. So for example, Streetwise is connected to charisma. And based on your charisma rating, it is your base attribute plus that rating is the maximum that you can go to. So for example, if your charisma is 1, that means you can have only a skill level of 1 for any charisma-based skill. Something to keep in mind. If you can make a skill check for a skill that you do not have. However, you'll be rolling at a -2 dice pool modifier, which would just be charisma rolled times 2, -2. So.
So my question: what do we pick and how many?
So, what would you guys like to pick on? So, it's also worth pointing out that academics is a specialized skill, meaning that you have to pick a specialization. You can't just be like academics as a general skill. You have to be very specialized when it comes to that. So let's take a look here. Character creation. Skills. Okay, so you have 15 points to purchase skill levels, which are purchased 1-for-1 on a 1-for-1 basis. You can purchase up to 5 levels of any skill during character creation. If you want to specialize, you will need to pick a specialization within that skill tree. I believe if you go to page 49, you can see the specializations at a short glance, but you can also read each of the skills going down. they will cost you a half a point. So, for example, for 1 point of the 15 that you have, you can take 2 specializations. You can't take 2 specializations within firearms, so you can't have, say, pistols and rifles as a specialization, but you can have 1 in athletics and 1 in firearms at character creation. Later on, you can pick them how many you want. It's also worth pointing out within these custom rules that I have right now, if you specialize, let's take rifles for example. If you're specialized in shooting rifles, every time that you shoot a rifle at the first level of specialization, because there's 2 levels of them, at the first level you will get your 10s when you roll them will explode, meaning that if you get a 10 you will roll another dice, and that's automatically done in the system. At the second level, the difficulty that you're currently at, so let's say you want to make a shot, so the difficulty would be 5. If your specialization is that of 2, you would be shooting at 4 instead of 5, because the difficulty would lower because you're so specialized in using rifles. So that's what the 2 specialization levels mean. In the original version, you would just basically get an additional dice, which was like fucking stupid. So not a great deal, but this one here is a lot better. So is there anything you guys outright are going to pick?
Well, so 15 total levels, basically.
Yes, 15 total levels, yes. Unless you pick a specialization, and then you get, yeah. It's also worth pointing out that, for example, let's take the rifles specialization again. You will have rifles as a skill, and then you will have firearms as a skill. And if you use a rifle, it'll be firearms plus rifle as your skill pool. So if you have 3 in rifles and 4 in firearms, you'll be rolling a total of 7 dice when you use rifles. All right. Any questions? I guess not.
No.
Nice.
With the specializations, I'm going to take academics history specialization because obviously.
Yep.
What does the specialization do again?
So you will have athletic. Sorry, not athletics. You'll have academics as one skill, and then you'll have academics history. You'll have academics history as a skill, right? So that's what you're at in your skill tree, in your skill drop down. And when you roll, you will be rolling. Your 10s will explode basically.
Okay.
And if you specialize again in history, so basically in your skill tree, just put a asterisk next to it at the start, so to signify that it is actually a specialized skill. And when you specialize in it again, like you double specialize, the difficulty of all academics history rolls will go down.
Okay. And base levels and rating, your levels are just the 15 points they have to spend?
So your rating is the level. So basically, if you put 5 points into academics history, you put 5 in your ratings column. Okay. So the way that you do this with the skills is the base levels is your attribute score. So if, for example, intelligence, and you have 3 points in intelligence, you would put at base 3. The levels is what you rank up. So how many points you've ranked up in that, you can only go to your base. So if you have, so let's take that example again for intelligence 3, you can only ever rank up to 3 points in that skill. You have to first increase your intelligence before you can increase your skill rating. And then with that rating in mind, you can go, the rating is how many dice you're actually rolling. So in your case, it would be your base plus your level to give your rating score.
Okay. So and the level is what you just give it right now.
Yeah. So your intelligence right now is 5,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And how many points are you buying into that?
Probably another 5.
Okay. So
So
your
what
base
is that?
plus your levels creates your rating.
Okay.
So you would
And it has
be excellent
15.
at that. So your
Cool.
rating would be 10 dice in that instance right there.
Let's say I wanted to put 2. So let's imagine I've got 4 points. I want to put 2 points in science, biology, and 2 points in science, chemistry. Is that a thing?
Yes, but you would have to have science, biology. So let's see here. Okay? Yes, you would have to have 2 separate skills for those.
Right. Okay.
So normally what happens is for example, if the firearms is a great one because you can specialize in different types of guns. But science is a specialized skill, meaning that you can only have a specialization in that area. So
All right. I'm set.
cool. What have you got for skills?
Medicine 5, of course.
Mm-hmm. So that uses your intelligence. What was your intelligence? 5. Nice. Yep. And what else you got?
Max. So then I kind of went to different places. I put 2 in bureaucracy.
2 in bureaucracy. Interesting. Okay.
1 in firearms for being in the army. 1 in linguistics. 1 in science biology. 1 in survival. 1 in animal handling. 2 in empathy, and 1 in science chemistry.
Okay. What was the second last one? Sorry.
2 in empathy.
Empathy. Okay. Oh yeah, interesting.
Something a doctor should have, I guess.
Bedside manners. Yeah. Small talk. Anyone done this?
I figured animal handling because the Ottomans did a lot of horsing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice.
I mean, that's where everyone would have started back in those days. Would have been cutting up a horse or something.
That's true. Yes.
That's where I got my start.
I think I got mine.
Okay. What do you got?
Academics history
5.
at 5.
Yeah. So you're
Gun-
rolling 10 dice there. That's nice.
Yeah. Gunnery at 2. Empathy at 2. Investigation at 3. Linguistics at 1. And firearms at 2.
So gunnery, is that a separate skill? It is, isn't
yeah,
it?
gunnery
Wow,
is like
okay.
heavy guns.
Yeah.
Like artillery and machine
Nice,
guns
I
and
like it.
cannons and things.
That's cool.
I was thinking about it, but it's not quite thematic.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm just curious. How do we add specialized skills on this sheet? Do we just write it in addition?
Just put a asterisk at the beginning of it. When you roll, it'll roll 2 pools, 1 specialized and 1 not. So 1 will be exploding dice and 1 won't be. And if you're specialized in it, we'll just look at the speciality one.
Because I wanted to go for like firearms archaic, for like black powder elephant rifles.
Fucking sure, yeah.
I mean,
no.
they literally used them in World War One, so it would make sense that they'd be around.
Yeah, I get you. You're going full Jumanji on us. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So no, absolutely. So the way that it works is you have 2 skills, right? So you have firearms, then you have firearms archaic,
Yep.
and So what you're doing right now is you've spent half a point to get firearms archaic, right? So basically, when you roll firearms archaic, you're rolling firearms plus the firearms level plus your archaic specialization levels. So if you put 4 points into firearms and then 1 in archaic, right? You're rolling 5 dice, essentially.
Okay, so where do I actually put in the firearms archaic on the sheet?
So you put you make a list for skills. You go firearms and credit like
Yep.
you normally do. Then right
Yep.
underneath it, put another skill that's firearms archaic with this asterisk for specialized.
Okay, so it's just literally the asterisk is what tells it this is the one to
No,
use.
it basically just allows me to see that it's specialized.
Ah, okay.
No, there's no magic there. It's just literally me seeing it. So you have another specialization that you can spend then. Where are you going to want to put your second one?
The other two skills I wanted to go with were just stealth and survival. I don't think any of the other ones are really applicable.
Okay,
It's
but
just a
you
hunter.
spent half a point. You can spend another half a point on
so I'm
another
gonna have to
specialization.
look at the specializations available there.
So there's like, for example, stealth has camouflage, disguise, hiding, shadowing, and sneaking. Maybe camouflage. I don't know. Big game hunter
I mean, survival also literally has hunting.
or tracking. Maybe that might help too.
Mm.
It's up to you though. I mean, when you hunt the dangerous game of man, how do you kill him?
While he's asleep.
That's not fun.
No, but it's an easy kill.
Mm-hmm. All right, Sheepy, what have you got?
Okay. So I have animal handling at 2,
Okay.
athletics, brawl, bureaucracy at 1, diplomacy 1, firearms 1. I went specialized in firearms pistol and melee sword as well.
Interesting. Okay.
And
What's your strength rating? Sorry, was it 3?
3, yeah.
Okay, no, Graham was the 1. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just finishing this off. I think this is right. I also got intimidation at 2, performance at 2, and melee at 3.
Okay. Keep in mind that you can't go any higher than your attribute score. So
Yeah, I haven't done.
cool. All right. And Doc, have you made a decision on where you're putting that point?
Probably in tracking.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
tracking
I
might
think
help.
that's a solid choice too. It's applicable
Yeah.
for both man and beast. So.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. The next thing we need to do is everyone's favorite talents. Now, talents are basically just like feats in Dungeons and Dragons. You can basically get like strong attack, which you strong attack has a requirement of 3 strength, and you can use strength with a specific combat skill. So that's pretty cool. So, for example, you could add your strength rating to your melee attacks. I think that's what it is. We would need to read it, but yeah. There's some really good ones in here. There's some that you can only take during character creation. For example, tough, strong, any of the ones that add plus to your primary attributes. That you can only take them during character creation. Iron Will, where's the ones? Keen Sense adds 4 perception rating with a specific sense. So you could be like with your eyesight, for example, you could see much further than most people. You could take Giant, which would give you a +1 size rating, which would increase your attributes across the board. Charismatic, that's just a normal one. Let's see, what else is there? Total Recall, never forget anything. That's another one that you can only take during character creation. And that starts at page 60, in case you guys are wondering. Anything with an asterisk next to it, things you can only take during character creation. Oh, psychic sensitivity as well. That's the other one. What was that, Graham? Sorry?
How many?
How many? All right. Let's see here. Okay, talents. Choose 1 talent or 1 resource. Talent represents your character's special abilities, but resource represents character's power, wealth, or influence. So you can pick 1.
So we can choose 1 talent or resource.
That's right, yes.
Okay.
Resources are like allies, artifacts, allies, artifacts, contacts, fame, followers, mentor, ranks within a membership of a secret organization, refuge, like a secret laboratory or something like that, status, and wealth. And they have ratings as well, so. Keep in mind that you can always get additional talents later. You can also get additional resources later as well, spending your XP. You'll roughly get about maybe 3 to 5 experience points per session. So.
Would I be okay having a Batman?
What do you mean having a Batman?
Officers in the army tended to have like a non-commissioned officer who would like do
Bat him off when required.
Yeah.
So you can have an ally. It'll be ally 1, a moderately skilled or influential ally.
I was thinking followers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like one skilled follower.
He wants a Chanto.
He'd be kind of like an Alfred, almost, I guess.
So it wouldn't be a Batman, but you would be like your attendant.
Yeah, butler, Batman, this kind of thing. Like,
sure.
He basically.
Now it's keeping in mind that they're not immune to death.
Yeah.
So that's up to you if you want to do that. So typical followers have 9 attribute points, 5 skill points, and no talent or resources. So you can have 2 inexperienced followers or 1 skilled follower.
I'll go with 1 skilled follower.
Okay. I'll give you another character sheet.
Okay. Basically, the way I see my character a little bit is he's the type of person who would blindly walk into a village full of cannibals, not realizing that they're cannibals. And my follower, Batman type guy, is the guy who kind of, behind the scenes keeps him safe while he's walking through a village of cannibals.
He won't last very long if he keeps doing that. So that's up to you, though. That's how you want to roll. So, yeah. So let's see here. Followers start out loyal to your character, making them easier for you to influence and harder for your enemies to sway. Okay. So they're loyal. So I think they get a +2 or something like that. Let me just check that. Okay, yeah, so they get a +2 bonus whenever you try and... Because you'll be using charisma to influence them, unless you have... basically you'll just get a +2 every time you try and tell them to do something. Okay. Depending on, if it's like, go over there and put your head in that lion's mouth. I mean, he might... it'll be harder to convince him to do that, but you'll get a +2 to do that, so... That's essentially how that will work. Let's see, what else does he get? Well, you get to define the nature of your character's relationship with these followers. The game master ultimately controls these NPCs and determines what they will or won't do. Abusing or taking advantage of the followers will negatively affect their attitude towards your character. Buying these resources more than once either increases the number of followers your character has or improves their experience level. So you can buy this again and increase his experience and give him extra stuff. You may gain 2 inexperienced followers or 1 skilled follower, or improve 2 followers each time you purchase this resource. A typical follower has 9 attribute points, so 1 in everything, and then you get 4 points, I guess, to spend.
Okay.
5 skill points, and no talents or resources. When you improve them, they get 3 additional attribute points and 5 skill points.
Okay.
And 1 talent or resources for each level you invest in them. That's actually pretty powerful if you manage to invest in them a lot. So, yeah. Anyone picked a talent yet or a resource?
I know it's boring, but I just took intelligent.
You increasing that stat? Nice, I like it. So what? That makes your intelligence 6 now.
Right.
That's actually pretty powerful. Going over the 5 threshold is actually pretty good.
It turns all my skills into +1, 2, right?
Yes, it'll add. The rating will go up by 1. So basically, you just add your base and your levels together.
But again, my medicine is +11.
Yeah. So, did you specialize in medicine?
No,
No. Okay. Interesting.
I didn't see a real benefit.
Well, there's lifesaver, which gives you. There's a lifesaver talent in here.
Take that later.
You take that later. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. Anyone else pick something?
I got mobile attack just because I think it's hilarious. It's more of like the slap and run.
Let's take a look here. Mobile attack. Move and attack simultaneously. Oh, okay. What does that actually give you? Let's take a look
I think
here.
it's just like your attack might be a move action as well.
So you always get a free attack, a free move, and a free defense. So let's see. Mobile attack. Your character excels at fancy footwork and can make accurate and powerful attacks even while moving. Benefit. Your character may attack without stopping his movement up to total movement rating. Normal. If you didn't have this, your character may move and attack or attack and then move. He may not attack while moving. If you buy this talent a second time, granting your character the ability to simultaneously run and attack. Okay, that's interesting.
How many skills does he get?
You get one. One talent at character creation.
No, the follower.
Oh,
Was it 5 skill points?
I think it was 5. Let me take. Typical for 5 skill points and 9 attributes. So,
Okay.
keeping in mind the same rule applies. You can't go higher than your base.
Yeah.
So I also went with something that's probably pretty boring but works really well. I just went with instant reload.
Interesting. So you don't have to spend
Your character can reload weapons with amazing speed. She's so fast it seems as though she never runs out of ammo. May reload a weapon as a reflexive action, allowing her to reload and fire in the same turn. Weapons that normally take longer than a combat turn to reload will only take your character an attack action to reload.
That's pretty cool because there are a lot of guns in this game. The speed is like half a turn, so it'll take you like if you use like a bolt action rifle, it'll take you 2 turns to fire it once essentially, and having that basically means that you will shoot every turn with a bolt action, which is fucking great because they're very powerful guns. So, GG, good stuff. All right, Drummer Boy, what you got for us?
The mobile attack thing.
Oh, right, yes. No, sorry.
Yeah.
You already did that. Yeah, my bad. Now, this is an optional part, but you can take a flaw. So flaws represent your character's physical, mental, or social shortcomings. Whenever your character is hurt or hindered by his flaw during play, you get style points, which is really, really powerful. So basically, your archetype will get you them, your motivation will get you them, and your flaw. And if you take a flaw, you'll get them as well. When I played this game, I picked what was it called? I basically had I was lame. I only had one working leg, so I had to walk with a walking stick. And basically, any time that I had to run away from explosion, a gunfight, etc., it was incredibly difficult for me. And I got a lot of style points because of it. So, style points, in case you were wondering, let me just go over what they actually do so you know how important it is to generate them. You can spend 1 style point to gain 1 extra dice on a single roll. You can boost your talent, which are the things that we just bought. You can boost that to another level. So you can, the one that allows you to move and shoot, for example, Andrew. You can increase that by spending 2 style points. That allows you to then run and shoot within the scene or the combat encounter. Damage reduction. For every 2 style points you spend, you can reduce damage taken by 1 point. And there are also plot opportunities. I'll be offering the ability for you guys to change things, like say make that bulletproof glass not be so strong, or make the T-Rex distracted, or what have you. And they will cost X style points, depending on what I think they're worth at the time.
How many floors can we take?
I believe that you can take...
I know exactly what I'm taking.
Yeah. I believe... Let me just double check this. I know it's like...
3 or 4?
I was pretty sure it was only 1.
Yeah, no, I think you can do more than 1. As long as it's not like lame twice and have 2 broken legs, right? Within reason, okay? That's what I'll say. Within reason. And I will definitely be kicking you while you're down if you take a floor. Yeah. I'm just, like, for example, if you take socially inept, right? I'm going to be making you fucking play that because that's just how it goes. So it's up to you guys.
So I'd be okay with taking both callous and condescending, because I was kind of tossing up between the 2.
Selfish, uncaring, and insensitive others, and he is better than everyone else.
He thinks he's better than everyone else. I mean, the 2 kind of go hand in hand. That's why I didn't know which one would work better, because they're both
Let me just
really similar.
Yeah.
So you remember how I said that my character's like ultimate goal was to graft a 3rd arm on somebody?
Yeah.
It's actually to reattach a 2nd arm, because my character only has 1 arm.
Oh, I like it. So how do you do like how do you attach arms to things if you can only sew with 1 hand?
A very good question.
Dexterous feet.
Over the course of the campaign.
He has monkey feet. Okay, yeah. So you're gonna take 1 arm in the physical floors. I like it. That's cool. So make sure you mark down that you have 1 style point right now, because you're taking a floor. So you start the game with 1 style point. It's also worth pointing out that I can, if for example, the callous and condescending, right? If you take both of them, I can just, I think I might be limiting how many style points you can actually gain. So in total, a single person can gain 5 style points per session. So if you gain 5 style points by playing your motivation and your archetype.
Wait, no, it's right here. Characters may start play with only 1 floor, but at the GM's permission, you may add, change, or remove 1 during play.
Oh yeah, it literally says that right there. Yep. So
okay,
just
cool.
take 1.
So, yeah.
It tells me to have my encumbrance, but it won't let me change that on the character sheet.
Well, wait, what does it say that?
In the description for 1 arm.
Really? Halve your encumbrance. Okay. Well, let's look up how much encumbrance you actually have.
Your encumbrance with 1 strength.
Yeah. God, you that's interesting, Graham. That's real interesting. Let's take a look. Strength. Okay. You have.
How much equipment does a medic need, really?
I need a stick. I'll be okay.
You can pick up 50 pounds worth of stuff. So 25 pounds worth of stuff.
Right. Is there a way to change it on my sheet? Because it's grayed out. Like I can't change it on the sheet.
It actually has it automatically filled out. Oh, okay. Shit.
I can't change it.
Interesting.
Just have to eyeball it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We can just eyeball it. That's weird that it's grayed out. I'll fix that. So
there are 3 floors I'd like to take.
You can only take 1 during character creation. So
hear him out.
what are you taking? What do you got?
I want to take lame.
Okay. Yeah.
I want to take absent-minded.
Okay.
And I want to take Danger Magnet.
Okay, has a bad
Are
leg
you
or
fucking
foot
like Mr. Magoo or something?
and moves slower than others.
Yeah.
Absent-minded, often forgets or overlook important details. I guess that's why you have your dude.
Yeah,
Um,
and Danger Magnet.
And
Like,
Danger Magnet attracts trouble through no fault of her own.
I can live without Danger Magnet because like I like the idea of my character wandering into situations, you know, and then getting like without noticing it. So
Okay, what is your movement rating right now? It's under secondary attributes.
3.
Okay, so you'll be moving at 1.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Most of the reason that I wanted to be lame was I wanted my character to have a sword stick.
I mean, you can just have a cane. You don't actually have to. Like, that doesn't.
I know, but I guess I can just take the absent-minded one.
I like the idea that you have such a terrible move rating that when you pull out your sword, they just like take a few steps back and just shoot their pistol at you.
Yeah.
And you try and hobble over to get them with your sword, but they just keep stepping back. Yeah, no. Absent-minded, often forgets or overlooks important details. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You can do that. So everyone who took a floor, make sure you put 1 star point in the box at the top, by the way. Andrew, are you going to take any?
Yeah, I took Danger Magnet because I think that's hilarious.
I mean, it makes sense.
I'm going to leave you all to die, just so you know. I will just walk away.
Well, I'm not lame anymore. I was forced to pick one, so I went with absent-minded.
Yep. And Doc, are you picking one?
Yeah, I went with condescending.
Okay, cool. Is better than everyone else. Right. Okay.
I mean, he thinks he's better than everyone else. He might not actually be. But...
Let's actually read condescending then. So sure. Your character thinks she is better than everyone else. It doesn't matter if she actually is superior or not. She knows she's always right. Anyone that disagrees with her is clearly mistaken and must be put in their place. You earn a star point whenever your character proves someone else wrong or establishes her own superiority. So.
By the way, the name of my Batman is Sebastian Woodbury. Just so everyone knows.
And he's going to talk like this.
Oh, you're using the.
I can actually imagine him just not talking. He just never speaks. Just follows you around silently.
He just
looking
sighs.
really sad.
You're gonna am I gonna be your gift to gif to your is that Brannigan?
Yeah, pretty much.
Although it'd be hilarious if he was like 6'7" and he only whispers in your ear to speak to you.
Yeah.
Like bends over and
Kif, show them my medals.
I carry a display case at all times.
Kif, I've made it with a woman. Inform the men.
Follow me up to the observation deck.
Yeah, like
okay.
I'd say Kif would be a decent explanation of him.
That's fantastic. And that pretty much sums up the character creation aspect. There's one final thing that I need you guys to elaborate on. I did ask everyone to give me a reason as to why they are... where did I put that? Oh, it's right here. Oh, that's super weird. I'm just going to change that back. Why they are here. So there's a character by the name of Sir Wesley. He is the curator of the British Museum. So, why does everyone know Sir Wesley? Yes, you in the corner.
I have a unrelated question. Can we go back for a second?
Absolutely, yes.
It says on page 79 that we have 15 experience points to spend at the start.
Oh, so sorry. Yes, absolutely. I completely skipped that point. You are 100% correct. Experience points, 15. So, primary attributes, new level, new attribute is new attribute level times 5. So if you want to go from intelligence 6 to 7, it's going to cost you big time, like 45 points or whatever. Skill is new level skill times 2. Skill specialization is 3 points. Talent is 15 points, and resource is 15 points. So if you wanted to, Sheepy, you could increase your Woodberry to level 2, and he could start with a talent, which means that you could give him the gigantic talent, and he could be very tall.
Interesting.
In that case,
Wait, if I level him up, does he get attributes and a talent and stuff, or is it just one thing?
So here's what he will get. Improve followers gain 3 attribute points, 5 skill points, and 1 talent or resource for each additional level you invest in them.
Okay, so 3 attribute points.
And 5
Okay.
skill points. Yep.
I'll just write this down and then I'll do it when we're on break.
Sure.
This may...
All right. Sorry, Graham. Go ahead.
all right. And so in that case, I will also take the lifesaver.
Done. Easy. Yeah. So that is talent, I believe, was...
Every success on a medicine roll basically heals a lethal wound.
Ooh. That's pretty handy.
Pretty crazy. Especially
Yeah.
That, basically, I roll 11 dice.
Yeah, that's... However, I'm using the skin of a fallen Nazi enemy to cover up your wounds.
Skin is cursed.
Yeah. So that costs you 15. All right. Doc or Andrew, what would you like?
I'm gonna spend 12, bumping my dexterity up to 5.
So was it 4 to 5?
Yep.
Okay. Primary attribute is attribute level times 5. So it's from 4 to 5 is a lot more than 12
Wait,
points.
times 5? I thought it was times 3.
No, times 5.
Okay.
So that
Never
is
mind
like
that.
25 points. Yeah. So a lot more than you have. However, you can save them. You can bank them. I will allow you to bank them if you want.
Yeah, I'll have a think about that.
Sheepy, are you going to give your follower a follower?
No.
They just keep on getting bigger.
Yeah, it's like nesting dolls of followers.
Got like a 6'2" guy, and then the next guy is like 6'8".
Yeah.
They just keep on getting larger.
So, Drummer Boy, what have you picked? What would you like?
I might take an extra body point. That's the full 15, right?
What is your... Oh, you mean the talent?
No, for body, like the primary attributes, you can up those, right?
Yes, you can. What is your current?
My current is 2. If I up to 3 times 5 is 15, right?
That's right. Yeah, you can do that. Doc, you could actually just take the
yeah, I'm
talent.
gonna put it.
instead.
So it's the same cost, it's the same difference.
Yeah.
Bizarrely.
So,
Is it? Wait, which one?
so if you go, like, if you wanted to go from 4 to 5, you could spend 15 points on the talent and get dexterity +1 as a
That
talent.
works actually.
Yeah. However, you can't buy that again, sort of thing. Or maybe you might be able to. I don't know. Let's take a look here. Talents. What's that called? Agile. Right. It's nice. And easy.
Agile can only be taken during character creation.
Yes, your character. Yeah, this is still character creation. Your character gains a +1 rating. This bonus affects your dexterity rolls. Blah blah. So also make sure you update all these secondary attributes if you upgraded your stuff. Your character's rating is unmodified. Okay, yeah. So nice. You can't get it a second time because it's only during character.
Yeah, it's only
creation.
available during character
That
creation,
makes a
so I
lot more
won't be
sense.
able to buy it
Mhm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I'll do that and bump my dex up to 5. Which also increases, which ones was it?
The secondary attributes.
Yeah.
Let's take a look here. Would you get dex? So it increases your move by 1 and your initiative
And
by 1
initiative
and your defense by 1.
defense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's actually a pretty good one. Sheep, what are you doing for talent wise for your
I'm just looking through it now.
Mhm. Go on, take gargantuan. And then change your floor to small.
It just carries me everywhere.
Everyone thinks the big guy is the PC, and then you just like step out from behind his leg. He's like, "Arr, arr."
That's not bad. Wait, is it even a small floor in this game? Let me just double check.
There's dwarf.
Oh, dwarf, nice, dude. You should totally do that. Come on, that'd be great.
Am I just gonna turn into Tyrion?
With his brother, yeah.
No, Tyrion's pretty competent, really.
Where did armor?
Mm-hmm.
And
And
Chris will be smaller.
yeah, it's true. You can make him smaller than you. That's true. Give him dwarfism. Actually, they can't take a floor. I don't think so. How much money do you get at the start? I don't actually know. It doesn't say.
There was a wealth chart. I don't know.
Yeah, but but that's like a resource, and none of you guys picked that, so.
He's gonna take alertness, I think.
Okay.
So +2 perception rating.
I'm gonna say everyone starts with $100 to buy stuff. $100. So, yeah, now the last thing you need to do is go to the equipment and pick some stuff out. So you can
Don't we
pick...
need to do the how? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so pick some equipment. But while you're doing that, I'll go around and ask you how you know Sir Wesley. Let's start with Graham. I think you have a cool one.
Yes, I saved his life.
So where was he when you saved his life?
You say he's the curator of the British Museum.
Yep.
I imagine I was in Britain.
Yeah. And
I imagine he something simple like he suffered, something mundane like he suffered a heart attack, and I saved him. Something less mysterious.
He had syphilis.
and you've kept in touch with him via letter, I suppose.
We're both intelligence. We've kept in touch with the pen pal correspondence. After the war, it's been 20 years. I've become a full British citizen at this point.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's go to Doc. How do you know Sir Wesley?
Well, I mean, I kill and sell stuffed animals, so I've probably been dealing with him in the past at the museum.
An employee?
Maybe more of a freelance
Errand
sort
boy?
of thing. Like,
Oh.
not, I don't work for him. I don't think either of us would be particularly happy saying we work together. I don't think we like each other.
So, how often do you correspond with him?
Probably whenever there's some new animal discovered and I decide to bring one back, or I may have done like work. He's like, "Oh, I've heard about this thing, a fucking platypus. You'd never believe it." And I was like, "Oh, I'll go fucking shoot some for you."
Shoot a platypus, Jesus. All right, Sheepy. How do you know Sir Wesley?
He's my mother's second cousin's nephew. I got him out of a spot of trouble with a streetwalker and a donkey way back.
And how often do you correspond?
Well, you know, keep in touch with family.
You met once.
Twice a year. Christmas card, that kind of thing.
All right. And Andrew, how do you know Sir Wesley?
He was like the main academic that I reached out to after I got kicked out of Yale and was doing all this stuff. I'm like, so Hollow Earth, you seem to stuff things. And
Yeah. How receptive has he been to that?
probably not very until I like unearthed something from a German document.
Interesting. All right. Any questions about what you guys are buying? Keep in mind there is equipment and guns that you can get, so it's not just guns you can buy, but also armor and other things.
Where is this stuff? I'm kind of
Chapter 5.
Page
It's
142.
way down there.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm going to assume you start with ammunition, but if you go on an expedition, you are going to have to buy ammunition before you go. And we will keep track of it then. But whilst you're in civilization, I'm not going to be too picky about that sort of stuff. So it'll only come up when it needs to come up. But yeah, I think everyone can, put together a list themselves. It's not going to be too hard to do that. And I think it's about time for a break. Players have just finished creating their characters. Make sure you update your name in Roll20 as well. And if you could send over your character names, I will get the sheet updated as well. Just send them over Zoom. I forgot to do that during the break. That's my B. So I'll have to do that right now. But as it is right now, you guys are out in your respective fields. Can we get an idea of where you guys are in the world right now and what you might be doing with your characters? So let me set the year a little bit as well. The year is 1936. World War One left a giant impact in the world. Lots and lots of people have been misplaced and found their fortunes and had sons not come home and fathers not return, some in pieces and some in caskets. The Great War did a large number of good in the world as well. It reset the lines as to who owns what for the most part. But it's a very volatile place right now, with Hitler rising up as a power over in Germany. Lots of tension is rising basically all over the world. However, that doesn't stop intrepid adventurers doing what they do best, and our gentlemen need to show their hand as to where they are right now. So, whereabouts in the world can we find sweet adventurers? Let's start with Graham.
So, okay. Do you want me to tell? Do you want me to tell a story, or do you want me to?
Yeah, give us an idea of where you are. What you're doing, how you're spending your time these days.
All right. Camera pans in.
I like it.
And there's me.
Yeah. What do you look like? What's your what's your description?
Just relax. Just let it happen.
Okay, we got it.
So, camera comes in. Laboratory, operating laboratory. Okay. Scurrying assistants and nurses and whatnot. And then a man hunched over the counter looking in a sort of a rudimentary large magnifying glass apparatus, sort of like a helping hand sort of situation, looking at a sheet of flesh. Okay.
I like it.
No, missing one arm. Okay. So my character's name is Dejarius Solomon, which is a Anglicanized African name. And he's fairly tall, dark, and handsome. He's missing an arm. And he's almost 40. And he looks in he takes a little bit of reagent with the pipette and dribbles it onto the piece of flesh. And all of a sudden we see the piece of flesh takes on a more a healthy hue than it did before, where before it was just a piece of cracked parchment almost is what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And then wherever the reagent hits it, it becomes a little bit pinker, and then it fades back to normal, and then drops again, fades back to pink, and then back to leather again. And then he says out loud, "Dear God," and then cut to black.
As you say that, do you have any assistants or anything like that in your laboratory?
Yeah, I mean,
helping hands, you could say.
Helping hands, yeah, for lack of a better word. For lack of a better word.
Yeah. Do you get jumpy every time someone says, like, you know, which hand have you lost, by the way? Is it right or your left? Is it your dominant? Like, what are you dealing with there?
I've lost my right hand, but thankfully I'm left-handed. So.
Okay, well, no loss.
Yeah.
So an assistant walks in. Would you hire men or women?
Whatever.
Whatever. You don't have any preference. Okay. So a young man, spectacle wearing man walks in, and he's holding a letter in his hand, and he's like,
"Well, all right then. What do you got there?"
So it's a. God, the names escape me right now. What do they call the things where they the quick a telegram? Sorry, yeah, I got it. It's a telegram, sir, from Sir Wesley. At least, yeah, he snatched it out of his hand. Yeah.
Be gone with you.
He's like, sure. I mean, I have monkeys to feed anyway. So he trots off.
I look back and I look at him again.
So you read the paper. It's not from Sir Wesley. It's about Sir Wesley. It seems that your dear friend and companion in the mental arts has been murdered. And you're requested immediately for an emergency reading of his will in his laboratory at the Britain Museum. Whereabouts in the world are you right now?
Rotherham.
Okay.
In the United Kingdom.
Okay, just making sure.
Rotherham.
What's that?
Rotherham.
Rotherham.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I was gonna look up where is this in London? Where I'm supposed to go?
Yes, the British Museum is in. I believe it's in London, right, Sheepy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to catch a train at some point to get down there. So I without much change in expression, without much emotion or anything on my face, I take my one hand, I remove the sample, I put it into a plastic sleeve and put another sheet of plastic over it. I fold it into a not necessarily an attaché case, but a small, it looks almost like a miniature briefcase.
Hmm.
This is my most prized possession. Okay. My what I call what is my sort of my regenerative sample. And I put that into a larger briefcase. I pick up the briefcase, and then I walk over to where the coat rack is, and I look at the coat rack, and I look at the briefcase in my hand, and I look at where my arm used to be, and I sigh, look down on the ground, set the case down, struggle to put on my coat.
You see like an assistant like poke his head up like and look over at you, and he's like, and then goes back to like feeding the monkeys.
Single finger.
Yeah, single finger.
I shrug on the coat, and then I pick up the briefcase, and I look at my hat. I sigh again.
Put down the briefcase.
Put my hat on.
Yeah.
And then I walk out the door.
All right. Graham, can you write your character's name in Zoom for me, please?
Oh, sorry, it's in room 20. Yeah. Yep, I will.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I see it. All right. All right. So yeah, you go catch a train over to London. So Doc, where can we find Jonathan Hyde?
We can be anywhere, right?
Yeah, you can be
We
anywhere in
don't
the
have to
world.
be
I mean, this
in
is
England. Okay.
this is pulp,
This
man.
is
You can
good,
you
sorry.
could you
Okay,
could
cool.
catch a plane that takes 2.5 minutes to get to it. You know, like time is.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Because he's probably in. He's like sweating it out in some dusty, like a gentleman's bar in maybe India or somewhere around North Africa. It's got like the kind of tan walls that's clearly mud that's been painted over. He's sitting there drinking just a tall glass of water. You see a young boy run in, gibbering on, clearly panicked.
You said this was Africa?
Stands up. Somewhere. It's somewhere dusty and sandy. It's not really specific. It's just it's over there, you know.
It's over there somewhere.
Yeah. So a young boy comes running in, clearly panicked, and calling out, "Mr. Hyde, Mr. Hyde!" He gets up. He picks up this big fucking rifle, walks out the door. 30 seconds later, there's a fucking massive bang. Comes trudging back in, puts the rifle down, sits back down, and continues drinking. Nobody even raises an eye.
There's an Africanese man behind the bar, and he's holding like a black telephone to his ears. And he's like, yes. Hangs up. It's like, oi, white fella.
Drink goes down. Yes.
You're the one that call Hyde, yes?
That's me.
I got a message for you.
Come on then.
Wide, you know the man?
Can't say I do.
Oh, did I get his name wrong? Oh, I think I did. I'm such a good GM. Sorry, Wesley. Yeah, Wesley, you know the man?
Oh yeah. I've
Sorry,
heard of him.
you white fella names are all the same to me. Yeah, he's gone.
Good, miserable old cunt.
Oh, you might have a payday in store, cause you know, you gotta go to a reading or something.
No, that's interesting.
He hangs
That's
up the
very
phone.
interesting.
He walks over. He's like, "That'll be $2."
All right. So drop $2 on the table, pick up the rifle, turn to walk out the door and say something like, next time one of your workers are getting killed, call someone else, and then walk out.
Yeah. It goes back to, the bar being quiet, maybe like a lazy fan is going. What does he look like, by the way, your character?
Dusty, big coat.
Has he got one of those safari hats on?
Yeah, but it's clearly not his. It doesn't fit. It's kind of beat up.
Mm-hmm.
He probably took it from someone, but it works.
Do you have like a case for your blunderbuss? Or do you just sling it over the shoulder?
He's got a flintlock rifle that goes over his back, and the blunderbuss just goes over the shoulder.
Oh, okay. Neat. Must be pretty tough to carry that around, but
Yeah, it's surprisingly not very heavy.
what other stuff do you have? Do you carry like a backpack or anything like that? Anything that you might see on your person?
Yeah, it wouldn't have been there, but he would have like a small bag, like a satchel bag with a little bedroll.
Like a messenger bag or something like that? Oh no.
Yeah, something like a messenger bag sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
with a blanket on it, and he sleeps in his coat.
Yeah, no worries. That makes sense. All right. So, we pan up into the atmosphere and come back down on Francis Jackson. What are you doing? What do you look like?
It's like a late 20s, early 30s. Like, he's in Boston, Massachusetts. So like 1930s Boston, kind of like the suit and tie kind of thing, trying to make it after getting kicked out of Yale.
Mm-hmm.
And he's hiding behind gigantic stacks of books, translating as best he can an article from German into English, with like a big map on the wall with like the pins and the red string and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sipping on some coffee or whatever.
Yeah, some guy, like I imagine it's like some sort of public library or something like that you're in, maybe. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think like maybe I have an apartment above a public library.
Yeah.
Like that's where I work, and I don't have an apartment, so I just kind of live there.
So yeah, you look across the room that you're in, and there's a man, in a black suit with wearing black sunglasses, or something equivalent for the time. I'm not sure they had sunglasses back then, but they might have had something. I'm not really versed in my 1930s headwear aside from fedoras, so
Probably like one of those things that like head down, cover the eyes kind of thing.
yeah.
So you can't really see his face.
Yeah, and he's talking to probably someone you run into every once in a while, maybe another colleague or something like that was at Yale.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you hear him over say, "Oh, yeah, that Jerry Lover's over there," and he points to you, and the man just sort of nods and makes his way over to you. What are you thinking right now? What's going through your head?
I'm grabbing a book and like covering up the German document because like that's not going to be good.
Yeah, you just sort of like fuck.
Yeah.
Just for the record, sunglasses were invented like 7 years ago.
I just don't think they're in style. I've never seen like a 1930s movie with sunglasses. I've never like maybe aviators at most.
He's got the Kanye West slit glasses.
Yeah. Yeah, LEDs protruding off of the front. Yeah,
Totally.
But he comes over to you and he's like, "Mr. Jackson."
I'll like act surprised and be like, "Oh, yes."
I come bearing unfortunate news. A colleague of yours has passed away recently, and your name comes up an awful lot in his personal documents.
Interesting. Who?
I'm going to
may
need
I
you to
ask-
come with me.
May I ask who deceased?
I'd ask that you don't. At least not in this space. And he like turns over and looks at the guy who's just like looking over like a book like at you, just like sort of smiling like with a shit-eating grin. Is like, yeah, he's going to jail or something like that.
So like, okay, and I think I'll like pick up my books and like grab the German document and stick it to the bottom of the book and just like shove it in my bag
Yeah.
so no one sees it.
So you follow the man for a little bit, and he'll take you to the back seat of a car that's waiting out in the street, and he'll lean forward to the driver and say, "Take us to the airport." And the driver will nod and start driving, and he'll lean back, take off his glasses, and turn to you. His eyes are a bright shade of blue. And you notice at this point he's very Aryan in his looks. Maybe the sunglasses were there to, hide that fact, but yeah. And he'll turn to you. He's like, former colleague Sir Wesley has passed away. His death is not an accident, though. We believe it to be that of murder.
Well, Hollow Earth research isn't exactly looked.
He'll raise an eyebrow the moment you say Hollow Earth, and he's just like, saying something like that is, well, I'm surprised you're still alive.
I'm just a crazy guy that got thrown out of Yale. No one cares about me.
Well, if I manage to find you, I'm sure someone else might have as well. I don't know if that raises any curiosities in you.
I think I'll like maybe think back on like my mornings or something. And, like trying to like search back through my memory of like any like unfamiliar faces that showed up in the last week. Like the diner that I go to, like the lady that brings me my coffee and stuff. I'm just like, I don't notice anyone. Maybe in like the TV version of this, there's like a dude at the table behind me with the newspaper and like flipping it down every once in a while.
Yeah. And with that, like they don't even go to your apartment or wherever you might be living or renting. They just drive straight to the airport and they get you to board a plane all the way to London, which is, I imagine, a decent trip. But it gets done with the classic little plane with the red line going to London over map. And with that, we turn our attention over to Charles Cromwell Abernathy. Did I say that right?
Lord Charles.
I don't know about Lord. We'll see. But what is Charles doing right now?
So he is currently just finishing up talking to a tribal chief in the heart of the jungle somewhere in Africa. He's been talking very slowly and loudly in English and using like hand gestures, and he turns back to his Batman Woodbury, and he says, "There, you see Woodbury? These fine chaps are perfectly amenable to British influence." And as he says that, as he's turned away, two of his expedition are carried on poles, like tied and gagged like that, towards a big cooking pot.
Sir, I don't believe you got through to them.
Nonsense, old man. These tribals are perfectly perfectly civilized. They just need a little bit of British influence.
I don't disagree with you, but I
Is he stopping there?
yeah.
Well, come along, old chap. Let's finish it up. You speak these gentlemen's dialect, correct?
Does he? What have you given him?
He's got linguistics.
Oh, he does?
Yeah. He's got linguistics 5.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, he probably would. And he sort of looks at you and he's like, would you not rather communicate with them yourself?
Well, I've been trying, man, but it's very difficult to get through to these people. And I think like at that point I like turn around and start speaking like we want alliance friend with you.
We get like subtitles like in the yellow font underneath, and the two tribesmen just look at each other and they're just like, who the fuck is this white man, and what is he trying to say? Something about eating what? And the other guy goes, nah, he's stupid. He's clearly one of the slow ones. And Woodbury will just like, I must admit he is a little dim-witted, but his intentions are good. We wish to bring you some advances in technology in exchange for our companions' lives.
we give you big bang bangs, so you fight our enemy.
Yeah, and Woodbury will like open up like a duffel bag, and he will like hand like he has like 2 rifles in his hands. He like a Thompson and probably like a bolt action or like a
Lee Enfield, yeah.
like a Lee Enfield, or probably 2 Lee Enfields, and he'll hand them over to one of the men who's holding like a spear, and he'll be like, gifts for you in exchange. These are fire sticks, and this is all in, like you can't understand what they're saying,
yeah,
right?
No,
and he'll turn to you and he'll be like, sir, if you refer to them as Nintao, which is their word for fire stick, they will understand what you mean.
We give you Ninao. You kill enemy of us. Yes.
He's like, so perhaps we should just try and get our companions back for now.
Our companions? Where have our companions gone?
I do believe they are in the process of being prepared for a cauldron of sorts.
And I look over as if I've only just noticed that these people are like, cannibals, and obviously they're preparing them. I'm like, bloody hell, man! You didn't tell me that these chaps here were the people eaters.
I don't assume to imply that you didn't, sir.
Well, Balderdash, we have to sort this out right now. Get our men back.
I've already negotiated a deal with them. They are willing to exchange the Nintel for our companions.
Ah, well, jolly good. Problem solved. All right, should we go back for a spot of tea?
I do believe that is in order, yes.
Wonderful. Let's get going, chaps.
Yeah, and we leave them. You get like 2 men who are like rope tied and gagged, and you like sort of bring them back into the back of the Jeep, and the 2 natives are just basically just like holding these rifles, and one is like using it as a spear, and the other one's like pretending to surrender, and it's like, and we sort of zoom in on the tire. spinning, and then we zoom out, and you guys are back in base camp of the Jeep pulling up. And as you rock up, another British gentleman, like a little rotund, comes out holding a handkerchief to his head, patting it down. He's like, "Sir, Lord, a message came over the wire when you were away."
Oh, come on, George, out with it, out with it.
It appears that you've lost a relative.
Well, which relative is it?
I do believe it was. He unfolds the paper and he like adjusts his like monocle and then pats his head down his head. Sir Wesley.
Oh, old Weedy Wesley, eh? Oh, man could never hold his alcohol. Well,
it says here that it appears that his death was suspect.
Yes. Wesley always was into some very strange and deviant stuff. Well, can't be helped, can't be helped. I guess I'll have to call this expedition short and go back to pay my respects to the old chap.
Yes, it would be. You would be quite. Perhaps we should stay here, and maybe you should head back by yourselves. I've invested a lot of money into, I guess, making sure that these natives see the light, as it were.
Yes, well, you be careful. Apparently, some of them like to eat chaps.
That is quite disgusting. Do you have any proof of this?
No?
I'll have to take your word for it then.
I'm a man of my word. Don't punch my honor, sir.
You have no problems doing that yourself. And he like pats his his head down again. It's like, this country is dreadfully hot. And then goes back into the tent. And then we get you guys like, traveling back by boat probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of months pass. Everyone arrives at the place that we need to go. And basically, we get a gentleman, the blonde, blue-eyed boy man. He's at a table and he's reading through a sealed envelope. It's an envelope that's sealed with a letter attached to it. You're all sitting in the room. Actually, you know what? He says he'll be right back with the will, and he gives you guys an opportunity to introduce yourselves to each other. So you all sit there, and Woodbury's like, perhaps I should introduce you, sir. This is Lord Cromwell Attenbury.
Charles. Yeah.
You can refer to him as Charles, if you like. He is a very wealthy and powerful individual here in Britain, and I humbly request that you respect him as such.
I stand up and go to the fireplace with my brandy.
Mm-hmm. Swirling.
Yes, and look deep into the past in the fireplace.
I'm probably just sitting there, like cleaning my fingernails and flicking the dirt on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Just like scraping gunk out and flicking it.
It appears that fellow companions in this room, my lord, are unwilling to give their names.
That chap over there, Woodbury, he doesn't have an arm.
God bloody hell, he's got an arm off.
I look over and raise an eyebrow.
I do believe there is a story to be told as to how you lost your appendage there, sir. Maybe instead of offering your name, you can offer a tale.
Oh, I love stories.
The Lord loves stories.
Let's just say the war was great for several reasons. Great loss. But I'm on. I plan on getting it back.
So someone stole your arm?
You could say that.
Blimey.
Your men, in fact.
Oh, what was that, Graham? Sorry?
Oh, talking to.
Woodbury?
Yeah. No, what's Sheepdog's character's name?
Charles Abernathy.
Yeah, you. You say somebody stole it. I say, yes, some of your men, in fact.
Woodbury looks at you quizzically and is.
And just for the record, my character is he's very obviously non-white.
Oh, okay. So okay, sure, I can get down with that. Well, this is a very interesting conversation we're having, but how about we introduce the other members of our little party here? You there, the one in the book. What might your name be?
Oh, my name is Francis. Francis Jackson. I'll get up, or are we close enough to shake hands?
I mean, yeah, you could be.
So
For those of us with hands.
Yeah. I probably won't go over to the
Do
one
the awkward thing where you hold your hand out and go, oh, shit, no, the other
wrong
one.
Yeah. Or try to turn my hand around and yeah. But I'll go up to Abernathy, Francis from Boston.
Ah, an American, eh? Well, it's always nice to see our colonial brothers. How do you do, sir?
Good for the most part. Someone stole me or summoned me from the library, and I got on a plane, and now I'm here.
Ah, a scholar.
Yeah, well, at one time.
Jolly good.
You know what? I'll audibly scoff.
What about that rough-looking chappy over there, Woodbury?
Excuse me, sir. The Lord wishes an introduction of you.
Look, I don't know why I'm here. I sold the old fruit some corpses. What are you, his lover or something? I don't know the guy.
They are related by blood, and what you're insinuating is...
They're British, too.
Highly disgusting.
He seems like a ruffian, Woodbury.
I do believe he can hear you, sir.
No, I can hear him. I can hear you, too.
Oh, jolly good. Well...
we're going to get along famously, you and I.
I look down and I think he's joking.
How can you tell?
Are you implying that we'll spend more time together than in this room?
Well, it's customary after a chap has died to go out for a drink to toast their life.
I don't.
Well, gloomy bunch, aren't they, sir?
I mean, I'm up for a drink.
See, the American understands. Yes,
Yeah,
we'll have a scotch or something.
Mm-hmm. At that point, our blue-eyed, blonde-haired friend walks back in and says, I don't think there's going to be much time for any of that. Do gather. We have important business to discuss.
I take my seat. Were there pipes provided?
Pipes? Oh, like smoking pipes?
Yes.
I mean, you could probably...
I have my own personal pipe.
You could probably... Yeah, you're able to smoke in here? It is the 1930s, so...
I think it would have been customary for them to have like a bowl of tobacco out.
Probably, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll set my brandy down and puff it in.
Mm-hmm. As you all know, you have been gathered here to hear the will of Sir Wesley. However, that is not all we need to discuss. Within this document, you all have been mentioned, hence why I have gathered each and every one of you here. Some for reasons I cannot fathom, others make a lot more sense. Either way, it is important that you all hear what our long expired friend has to say. Sir Wesley's death has been ruled a murder. The situation surrounding his expiration is quite unknown. However, we are aware of a couple of things. First, there are ties back to the Thule Society, and those are very much something that we cannot ignore. I have been tasked with helping all of you infiltrate the society as a whole. Now, as to why you've been selected, you have ties to the man whose information has been stolen, and we need you all to help in retrieving it. If I say the words Hollow Earth, does anyone here know what I'm talking about?
It's like, raise my hand gingerly.
Well, perhaps our dear friend, Mr. Jackson here, can explain.
Okay. I'll just like walk to the head of the table and be like, so I got thrown out of my doctorate for this. So
I'm barely holding back the laughing by this point.
they all could be like, do you need some water? Are you okay?
No, I'm fine. Please continue.
Perfect. Okay, so there's a giant hole in the North Pole that leads to a gigantic circular cavern within the Earth.
So you wouldn't know about any of the entrances, by the way. No entrances are known. That's the only thing you know about.
Well, he doesn't know. He's just heard the stories of it, and the idea of the poles being the entrances to the Hollow Earth is fucking ancient. So it's probably something that would be a legend.
Yeah, it would probably go. The legend goes, but more than anything, there is no known way. And if it was known, there's no way someone on the outside world would have any information about it.
Well, like there's an alleged German document, like maybe the one that I was trying to transcribe, that has like rumored entrances to the Hollowed Earth.
Possibly. There's been stories and stuff like that written. Like for example, there's an author who wrote a lot of fictional novels that come awfully close to this sort of stuff. But aside from that, there's no real documented stuff. It would be quite a stretch to assume that a new PC would have information about an entrance from the very beginning. So,
okay, I'll just like go through like, it's like, do you know those desserts that are like chocolate but they're hollow in the middle? Kind of like that, except for planet-wide, and within the inside there's lost civilizations,
Fairies
Atlantis
and dragons and All sorts of wonderful stuff.
Like a cake.
Like a hollow cake with dinosaur, the beings that you would expect to be extinct, gone from the surface. Dinosaurs, the Mayans disappearing, Atlantis, all those, what most people in the academic field call bullshit.
I wonder why.
Yeah, indeed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson.
That was a lovely story.
Yes, well, story as it were, the Nazis believe that it is real, and they have an entire organization based around finding entrances and taking powerful relics from it. So,
I think at that point, like I'll take like the sheet of paper because I still have my bag. It's the only thing I brought from America.
Mm-hmm.
So like the German document that I hid under the book, I'd like flip it open, like unfold it, and kind of hold it out.
What is this document that you have?
I only got as far as geographical information, some longitudes, latitudes, a little bit of history. Some of it is very murky. My German is not the greatest.
Well,
Here,
what?
I'm fluent.
You're fluent in German. All right. Well, you hand over the document. It is mostly just like, you know, hearsay. There's no concrete evidence in it whatsoever. But
well, I do have a linguistics of 5 + 1, so the rating is 6. But like maybe it's like an archaic German, like a low old German.
Maybe I have an additional insight.
Yeah, like I'll hand it over and be like, by all means.
So, as it is right now, you can read it, but, you know, it is what has been mentioned. It's a lot of nonsense on paper. So, you know, you investigate, you read, and nothing really comes of it.
It's basically kindling.
Yeah. However, be that as it were, all we need to know is that the Germans believe it exists. So, we have been tasked with infiltrating them to see what they know and potentially even bring it to a close. And he holds up like a leather-bound document. This is something Sir Wesley was working on. Now, that scrap of paper you have pales in comparisons to the notes within this document. And he, like, you know, throws it on the table in your direction, I guess, Francis.
You're like, well, I would expect so. I'm just a ex-Yale student.
Yeah.
I'm assuming a curator for the British Museum would be able to get his hands on more classified documents.
Well, classified is not really the word I would use. Why don't you take a look-see inside and tell me what you think?
Sure. I'll just like flip it open and
flicking
through.
So you start flicking through it, and you know what it is it is a very worn, like very fragile book, like almost like a diary, and inside of it is this text that you've never seen before in your life. And, you know, maybe you pass it around the room to get other opinions. And anyone here with a lingo skill, you've also never seen anything like this before. Now, in the headings, margins of this document, there are like scribbles of handwriting in pencil, presumably from Sir Wesley, you know, writing notes about like him trying to decipher the text, or like, you know, basically alphabetize. Is that a word? The entire book. But so far, you know, most of the notes here are very basic and incomplete. As you're all examining this document, the man behind the blue eyes basically says, "So, our friend was killed, and his notes, documents, everything that pertained to this particular thing and many others that didn't were taken. We know very little other than what's in that book itself about what's going on. We do know from eyewitness accounts that they were German individuals who came in and murdered him, ransacked this exact office right here that you're sitting in right now. And I was hoping that using your knowledge of Sir Wesley, we might be able to make head of what's going on here."
Can I have the book in hand right now?
Sure.
Is there any pictures? Is
No, it's all text. It's like a diary, basically.
there any empty space at the back?
It is a diary, meaning that there are a couple of pages in the back that are not filled, essentially.
Okay. I'm going to, while everybody's saying this, well, first of all, is this guy who's talking, is he Aryan?
Yes, he's Aryan. Yes.
Okay, well, I make a mental note of that because that seems suspicious. And then I'm going to, while everybody's looking at him, I just imagine myself at the other end of the table.
You segregate yourself for no reason whatsoever.
Just like he's at one head of the table, I'm at the other head of the table.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to put the journal in my coat pocket.
Okay. Well, don't lose that. It's the only thing we have left of Sir Wesley.
We all saw it happen.
I wasn't trying to hide it. I just did it.
Yeah. So, what do you think we should do? I have my companions searching for the murderers as we speak. But, dime a dozen. Like finding a needle in a haystack, as it were.
Why us? Why me?
Well, these documents that were taken have mentioned your name quite regularly. All of your names, in fact. For various reasons.
Me? Why would he mention me? I didn't even like that puckered old arsehole.
Fair be it from me to know. If I had the documents in front of me, I'd be able to tell you, my sir. But I don't. Hence the conundrum.
Quite.
Perhaps you would, maybe you would have that answer. Why would the old tuckered asshole be interested in you?
He wanted something shot.
Interesting. What type of things would you shoot for him?
I'm a hunter. Big game, mostly.
Well, that clears up a whole lot. What about you, Mr. Jackson? What type of correspondence did you have with our man?
I've never received a letter back. I've sent dozens of my research on my own after being thrown out. He seemed like the only person that would give it even a look, but I never received a letter.
There's a good chance your letters might have gotten our man killed.
Don't put that blood on my hands.
Well, not very many people walk around talking about an Earth inside of another Earth.
I don't talk about it regularly, but you picked me up out of my studies.
And you weren't very hard to find, I will admit that.
Well,
Was
no,
he hiding?
the library is pretty much my home, so.
Well, What about our coloured friend here? What was it? Solomon? For a man with one hand, your fingers sure are sticky, but perhaps you could tell us why Sir Wesley was talking to you as much as he
Oh.
was.
All due respect, he can't wash his hands with the other. Can't rub. Sorry.
I mean, that's a fucking good point. So,
well, we had several correspondences. I would consider him a friend, but for this, I don't know what my purpose here is. Figure there's something in it for me, or else I wouldn't have been called here.
Interesting. Well, and your family, I assume, yes?
Yes. No, Wesley was a distant relative on my mother's side. Woodbury. When was the last time I saw him? A couple of years ago, yes.
Well, he was at the family estate a couple of months ago, actually. I don't believe you actually got around to talking to him.
Well, no. So, busy man.
Mm-hmm.
Can't speak to all your family.
Yeah. And at that point, door busts open, and a short boy in a what do they call them? The little paper boy hat? Well, I don't know what they're called.
I think that's actually what it's called, a paperboy hat.
Paperboy hat? Yeah, I thought there was something like that. Walks over and whispers something to a blue-eyed friend, and he stands up and he's like, well, it appears we have some information. Would you like to follow along? Maybe see where this goes.
I like
good.
Did you almost just say where the rabbit hole goes?
No. That would be condescending of me. And he'll briskly walk out. I don't know if you guys are going to follow.
Woodbury, bring me my cane.
You never let go of it, sir.
Oh, bloody hell! Right. Okay, let's go. And I kind of like creak myself up. He's a little older than I think everyone else, but.
Oh yeah, how much older are we talking?
I'd say probably late 40s, early 50s.
I mean, Graham's character is around the same age, right?
I'm like 38, 39.
Okay.
Well, come along, Woodbury. Maybe see you chaps there. My interest is piqued.
Well, I will always go last.
So you see, you follow the blue-eyed man, who hasn't introduced himself yet, surprisingly, because none of you asked for his name.
That dawned on me as I'm walking. I'm like, I just spent like 14 hours on a plane with this dude, and I don't know his name.
Yeah.
Shit.
I mean, you should ask, but as he's walking along, a couple of people walk up and give him a Nazi officer's jacket that he takes off his jacket and puts that on underneath, and then puts his other jacket back on over the top. And he turns around and looks at everyone. He's like, precautions.
Do you think we can maybe stop off at a pub at some point? We do need to toast the health of old Wesley.
We can do that by murdering his murderers, I think would probably be better.
Oh, well, jolly good. Okay, then.
How is everyone's German, by the way?
Don't speak a word. Woodbury here knows languages. Don't you, Woodbury?
I do, in fact, know German. That is correct, sir.
There you go.
Well, like I say, my German's a little rough, but I think I can get by all in German fluently.
He sort of smiles. It's like,
I don't know much of the slang.
Good. He puts on an accent, like a German accent. He's like, Then we won't have any problems, no?
He's saying that in English.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
After all, if we get close to these murderous swine, we won't have any problems.
I look over at Doc's character. I'm like, no, should be fine. Should be good.
And then perhaps you can get into the back of the vehicle, then? Yeah?
Jolly good. We won't have to walk. And I step in and sit down.
Mm-hmm. And you see
What?
the... Oh, go on, Graham.
Do I have any kind of insight about this guy? Because I have a sneaking suspicion that that's not an accent, that the previous thing was an accent.
Dude, you're blowing the story.
Do you have any empathy?
I have a ton of empathy.
Okay. So this is going to be our first roll of the game. And now basically, if you click it... by the way, guys, on your character sheet, if you scroll underneath the health and XP, there is a modifier prompt. Just make sure that checkbox is on. Because that will give you a prompt that goes ahead of the difficulty to add additional dice if the situation needs it.
Where is that?
It's underneath the health there. So it's called modifier prompt. Yeah.
Yes, I have 8 empathy.
Okay, so go ahead and click your empathy skill. The difficulty for this will be a 5.
Okay, so dice pool modifier 0.
Yep. And then I'll say difficulty next. And... Okay, so you got 5 successes. That's actually a very good roll. So yeah, it's hard to tell which is his native tongue.
Right.
But if you were to go into the body language, it's very hard to get away from, like, you there's trained to act in a way, and then there's like, this is where you grew up and this is how you act sort of body language. From what you can tell, he is very much acting in line with the stereotypical German soldier and how they would act and how Americans would see them. But in what you actually assume with your successes, he is an American playing the part of a German.
Okay. Is he getting in the car with us?
Yes, he's sitting in the front with the driver.
Are there many? Is there anybody else other than him and the driver?
No.
I'm in the car.
Yes.
It's like a van, or it might, yeah. So.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I'll get in.
I ain't scared.
The whole thing seems weird, so I'm curious as to why I'm here, so I'm going along with it.
It all seems perfectly natural to me.
I ain't scared.
I think
No
I
worries.
sit down next to Doc. I'm like, do you have your gun with you?
Would that be something that you'd?
It's the 1930s. You can travel with guns in a plane.
Yeah, I feel like they wouldn't actually be all that concerned by a dude who's clearly some kind of hunter walking around with a rifle. So yeah, I probably do have.
You probably have like maybe like a courtesy sheet over them, but other than that,
Yeah, I have like some kind of case, something that just goes over them. Nothing fancy.
Yeah, just protected from wear and tear.
But it's still very clearly a rifle on my back.
Oh yeah, you're not hiding that.
So I'd be like, I don't assume you're a musician. Like, pointing to the case.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I used to play the piano as a lad, if that helps.
Yes, the Lord has very nimble fingers.
Yes.
Well, this isn't a piano.
The blue-eyed now German soldier will turn back into the back of the van, and he'll say, "All right, so here's the deal. I am a German loyalist that has recruited you all for an investigation. You can call me. He like looks at the driver and is like, just call me Hans.
Really?
And he looks at, he's like, unless you have a better name.
I'm sure we can brainstorm something.
What about Rudolph?
Fine, Rudolph.
There we go. Yes, much better German name.
Make like a hands joke. It's like thinking like I don't know if I'll say it out loud. I'm like I'd hit a sore spot with the one hand with the one-armed man.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. It's literally the most common German name there is. So I didn't mean to cause offense.
None taken.
Maybe hand would have been better.
He just turns back to the front. He's like, as long as you don't blow our cover, hopefully you won't need to use those rifles. And with that, how about we take another break? Head on down you arrive at your destination. It is, for the most part, a subway or an underground tram station. And you guys head on down. And as you walk underground, Rudolph will take off his jacket and hold it over his arm and continue walking down. And then he will, walk up to a padlocked door, and he will wrap his knuckles on it, and he'll pull out an officer's hat and put it on as he does that. And he turns around and goes, "Remember." And the door opens slightly, and it's on got a chain connecting on the other side. So he pulls it open, looks out, and then on the other, you hear, "Oh, Scheiße," and it locks the door again, and then you hear the bolt being removed from the door, and he opens it up. On the other side, there is a man saluting in the German salute. I don't know what it is. Is it just that, or is it like, how is it?
It's pretty much just.
It's just the
I
same.
think it's like a three-finger salute or something.
Three-finger, right? But they don't. How do they do it? They don't. Oh, what is it? Americans use the last three finger. No, they use. I don't. I remember reading *Inglourious Basterds*, and they had a problem with the way that they salute.
Well, how to count to three? Like Americans count to three like this,
Yeah.
and Germans count to three like this.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, and a man saluting, and he's like, "A Führer." And everyone else, they get indiscriminate German, but anyone who can understand, yellow text, and everyone looks down and reads it because that's how it works, right? When you translate in your head, it says, "A leader, we didn't expect you back so soon," and he does like a weak salute. Rudolph does a weak salute, and he's like, "Do not mind, these men are with me," and he walks in. And he walks over to a very injured man, who's it's basically just like a dark room basically, and there's like six non-uniformed, obviously very Aryan German soldiers in here, each with American-made weaponry and British weaponry at their sides, and they have a conversation roughly about you know, what are these men, what are they doing here, and you know, Rudolph basically explains that these are the professionals that the Thule Society was after, and that they are to go with you when you leave, and you are to help them leave the country the same way that you would leave as well. Does anyone have any problems? Like, who here cannot understand what's happening right now?
I mean, I don't speak German, so if they're speaking German, I don't understand what's happening.
So I guess at that point, maybe Woodbury is just sort of like leaning down and whispering in your ear, Charles. He's basically just like,
I think I probably actually turned to Woodbury and said, "Woodbury, old chap, what do they say?" Kind of thing, you know.
No, he does it without even like you
Okay.
saying anything, and he's like, "They're simply talking about how much use we're going to be, and that we are to follow them."
I just kind of look down the line at the rest of my party.
Mm.
I'm just like, if they're okay, I'll just keep going along with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll like when you look down, I'll like lock eyes with you and be like,
I just kind of like this doesn't seem good.
just go along with it.
Can Woodbury like pull me up a chair so I can sit down?
There's no chairs here.
No.
They're sitting on the ground. There's a table with some loose weaponry on it, but that's about it. That's all that's in here.
Everyone has bloody chairs. Preposterous.
The German soldiers, Solomon, they're looking at you.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. You know, they're not doing anything, but you know, this is something that you're definitely used to, I assume, when you come over here to Britain. But you know, a lot of people in Britain, they don't like, they're not as obvious about their stares. Like, they try and hide it, right? But these German soldiers, they're just openly blank at staring at you.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm. You don't take offense to it or anything like that? No?
No, I look good.
I know I look good. All right. So they finish their short discussion, and Rudolph turns back and he's like, very well. All of you are supposed to follow these men. I have no more further use of you. You know what you need to do. Do you have any questions? This is your last opportunity to ask me anything.
Can I get a change of clothes?
Don't be ridiculous. You will find something on the boat.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's be off then.
Question mark?
Oh, you just say question mark?
If I say
Yeah,
boat.
boat.
Yes. You will be following my companions here.
I think like, at the boat somewhere like boat.
Well, how else do you expect to get to where we need to go?
Where's that?
We don't know who's listening right now. He just, you know, does like a fucking shut up, Jesus fucking Christ. Sort of look at you guys. He's just like,
Excuse me, I say in my head.
yeah.
Oh yeah, the boat.
Well, now, I will leave you to it. And he turns and leaves through the same door that you guys came in through. So now you're just in a room with 6 German soldiers.
Okay. I continue to pretend I don't speak German.
Imagine
I'm
it's
just
like
going to lean against the wall and continue to not speak German.
Yeah. So they say to like, there's a couple of soldiers say to each other, it's like, are we really supposed to work with someone of that color? It's like, well, listen, the Führer wants what the Führer gets. These men know what they're doing. Perhaps the one of color can be of use.
if there was music in this, like if in the TV show version of this, it's the same awkward music that was at the table when we first met. Just like 10 people in a room, just like.
So
I looked
what?
down the line. Hey, I don't suppose any of you. I'm talking quietly, so that
Mhm.
you know. Hey, I don't suppose any of you speak Arabic, do you?
Woodbury?
I know a little.
Okay, can I talk to Woodbury in Arabic?
I mean, I'm not stopping you.
I'm just kind of at a loss. I'm gonna ask him. I'm gonna ask him. Do you know as much as I do about what's happening?
The Lord here, he often gets into a scrap or two every once in a while. It is no surprise to me that he's, called here, even if he doesn't quite understand it himself. Perhaps this man that has died has stumbled upon something that is far beyond our understanding right now.
While they're talking, I take out a little box of snuff and just, sniff a little bit.
It's like a German soldier will walk over to you and he'll he won't be armed or anything. He'll
Me either.
He'll outstretch a hand to everyone aside from Solomon, and he'll be like, "This is how you do."
Does he say that in German or
English? Yeah.
Like he's trying to shake our hands. Is
Yeah.
that what you mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
Pleasure, old chap.
He'll give you he'll return whatever intensity of squeeze you give him through the handshake.
oh, I'm gonna give him a squeeze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all right, let's make a strength comparison then.
Yeah. Have you seen Bulletproof Monk, where the monk and the dude the net? It's gonna be.
I was thinking Predator, but yeah.
So just
you son of a
strength.
This is
Now,
just,
when you're doing a flat skill check like this, it doubles it, doesn't it? So
yes, it does. You don't have to double it yourself.
Okay, cool.
So for difficulty, put in 5.
5.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Man, I rolled like trash there. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. You start to squeeze each other's hands, and he just goes, "Ah, Scheiße. Ugh. Don't be frustrated. I don't return." Hmm?
I'll just like crack my knuckles.
With one
Lean
hand,
back
he's
against
like,
the wall again.
yeah, and it's just like, and he'll he'll shake everyone's hand. Francis, do you shake hands with the German?
Yeah, it's pretty weak though.
Yeah, he returns your weak grip. And then he'll turn to Solomon and he'll just give you like a nod.
I'll stare. Make extreme eye contact.
Extreme eye contact. Yeah.
Extreme eye contact.
I mean, if you want to make it real awkward, you hold out the stump.
I mean, where you lost your arm, is it like right up to the
All of it.
all of it? Yeah. So you don't even have like a little tiny bit that you could wiggle.
Nothing.
Okay. All right. So you guys, he will like look at you while he's like, we must wait till the dark. Yes.
Wait till nighttime.
Correct.
How long do we have to wait here?
Okay.
I think he said till nighttime.
Oh, I don't know how bloody long that is.
It's when it gets dark.
It's about 5 hours, sir.
Oh, 5 hours. Woodbury, can you organise some kind of spot of lunch, maybe? Maybe some dinner.
Some
Find me a
cucumber
bloody chair.
sandwiches.
He'll turn to the German, and in German he'll say, "Excuse me, sir. my companion here requires food and something firm to sit on. And then he'll sort of like look around the room almost jokingly and he's like, what would you like to eat? A slice of beef?
Sandwiches. Nah, but sandwiches would be fine, old chap.
He's like, yes, we don't have sandwiches or anything. We will eat on the boat.
Do you at least have a chair or something? You can't expect a fella to stand around for 5 hours.
There's a man holding his, his bleeding arm, and there's another one holding like his side and stuff like that, and they've got like crude wrappings on and stuff like that, and they're just sitting on the ground, right, on the cold cement, and he's just like, perhaps you would like to take a corner.
I have no idea what that means.
Pull up a wall, old man.
Can't sit on a wall.
So there's a guy actively bleeding.
2 of them, yes.
All right. Okay. So these guys are not ready for an international expedition.
Probably not, no.
Okay.
Well, I mean, do you want to try and like eye them up and see if you can?
Are they actively dying?
Well, let's make a check. So this will be difficulty 5. I mean, you have enough time to make it happen. So, all right, cool. Yeah, they basically. I mean, it's 1936, right? The best they can do is cauterize, and hopefully they don't perish. So you looking at these men, it's if the boat trip is going to be long, they're probably not going to make it, but they're not willing to die here, I guess might be the right word.
In my head, my philosophy about these kinds of things is, I have incredible powers of, my incredible intellect in medicine, and I will choose whether they live or die.
That's fair.
Basically, my thought process, and if they right now they're in neutral territory.
Neutral territory. Okay, got it.
If they deserve it, I'll save them. If they deserve it, I'll let them die.
Okay. Well, they've also haven't been very kind to you since you've arrived, so.
Yeah. I'll just I don't know. I kind of want to sit with I kind of want to sit facing the other way, but I also kind of don't.
Just in the corner, just like facing the wall.
The journal, but I didn't want them to know I had it. So.
Yeah. So, how do you guys spend 5 hours in this room?
Can I spend a style point to have Woodbury find me a chair?
From where?
I don't know. Next door or something.
So, you know what? Yes. Okay. Here's what will happen, right?
Yeah.
Time will go by. Spend your style point.
Okay.
And basically, Woodbury's gone for a while, right?
Yeah.
The Germans don't notice or don't care. A tall, lanky German man, British man walking around Britain isn't going to, arouse any suspicions. You hear like a dragging sound coming from outside the door, and then like a.
Can someone get that, please?
A German man will take a pistol, a Luger, not a pistol, Luger, like a Colt or something like that, and put it behind his back, or maybe on the other side of the door, and he'll like open it, and you'll see it's like, hello, it is Woodbury again. Please let me in. And he'll sigh and shut the door, open it up again, and then Woodbury will sort of noisily drag in like a a chair, like a bench that he procured from the rest of the subway, and pull it into the room, and then he'll shut the door behind him. Like, I've found you a chair, sir.
Marvelous, Woodbury. Marvelous. Well done as always. I don't suppose you found any sandwiches while you were out? Any a snack or something?
It failed to dawn on me, sir, that you were also requiring sustenance. I apologize.
Can't be helped. Can't be helped. Let's not worry about the thing. Okay, well, this looks like it's going to be much more comfortable than we thought, lads. And I'm going to sit down on the bench.
There's probably room for 2 more people.
I'm probably actually dozing off, leaning against the wall.
I'll get with what's his name? Francis.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Francis, yeah.
I'll pull out a charcoal pencil. And is the floor just like stone?
The forge?
The floor.
Oh, floor. Yeah. It's like cement.
Okay, I'll start drawing on the floor. And I teach him a game, just like a pen and paper game, but like a charcoal stick and cement floor game.
All right.
I don't
Tic-tac-toe or something.
You just like draw an 8x8 grid, and we have to like make shape. It's like Go.
No, but it's like something not tic-tac-toe, something like I don't know.
The
Master
squares
Mod.
game.
Dots.
Well, there's the Go game, the ancient
Yeah,
like stones and stuff. You just like draw a grid and start like Xing on corners and stuff.
yeah, we'll play that.
All right. So time passes.
Take a contested roll.
Um,
I want to prove that I'm smart as he is.
yeah. And you guys are seen sort of trudging through the unabandoned underground tunnel that the Germans have found because it's pulp and fuck it, why not? There is one. And you guys come to the other side where there is a boat waiting for you, a small one.
What are we moving?
What was that?
Are we moving now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, moving too fast.
It's moving too fast. Well, pulp is all about like time skips and stuff like that. So you guys are,
I think the game was to try to see if he was smarter than me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, would you like to make a roll to see? Do any of you have gambling as a skill?
I don't. Is it intelligence?
I believe gambling is. Let's take a look.
Charisma.
Gambling is intelligence.
All right.
So, give me both of you give me an intelligence -2 roll, please. Difficulty 4.
12.
-2.
Oh, sorry. No, that's not right. Modifier -2?
Modifier -2. Yeah.
Difficulty 4.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Solomon plays a mean game of whatever the fuck you've got going on. Maybe he forgot to mention a couple of rules.
No. Hey. That would be if I could beat him by 1. I beat him by 3.
Yeah, he handily beats you.
Everybody sees it. Everybody's aware.
Yeah.
All right, and then we move on.
Yeah. So you guys move on. Tunnel, exit. You're on a boat.
That's fast.
The Germans have mostly been keeping to themselves the entire time. Have you guys tried to approach them about where you're going or anything like that?
I'm a watch and see kind of man.
Mm-hmm. All right. This small boat gets pulled out. It's like a little tiny tugboat or something along those lines. Gets pulled out into the open ocean, where you meet up with a U-boat.
We're getting real deep undercover here.
Yeah. And then you guys, board. And when inquired about who these extra individuals are, one of the German soldiers will say, these are the men that Führer Hans recommended and found to aid us. And the officer on the deck will turn to you all and inquire in German. Is like, who here speaks the tongue?
I'm gonna lean over to Francis, and I'm gonna say there's gonna be I'm gonna say there's going to be a point where we're in too deep, and I think we've already passed it.
I think getting on the boat was that point, but yeah.
No,
Not that I heard you, but yeah, I think
do we all agree this is too much now? Okay, it's too late. Okay, well, might as well go.
yeah, I mean, we're in this far,
All right, so I'll say yes in German.
Yeah, and I'll just say yes in German as well.
I'll hear those two say yeah, and I'll just go, yeah. I have no idea what we're saying yes to.
Woodbury will say in German, is like, I translate for my lord. And then he like curtly head curts to Charles.
Nice. Woodbury, can you arrange quarters for me, please?
The officer will just ignore you, and is like, come, I must, in German, he's like, I must know what you know. And then he'll like bring you to like a drawing room in the middle of the U-boat. It's very cramped in here. There's probably, there's no way you could probably count all the German soldiers that you've seen surrounding this place. But unless one of you wanted to attempt to try and memorize how many people were on board or anything like that. No? All right, cool. You guys follow the German officer to a table where basically he has a map laid out, and on the map is a lot of mathematical workings right now, and you can see next to the table there is a couple of German soldiers, one in spectacles and tie loosened sort of style in their outfits and uniforms, and they're basically just poring over like a pile of documents and notes. If anyone cares to look into it, the handwriting is very similar to that of the notes in the margins of Sir Wesley's journal that he had.
So I figured. I want to attempt to, from visual, memorize everything I see.
Okay. This will be a straight intelligence check for now. This will probably be difficulty maybe 7, I want to say. Okay, yeah, so you get a glance at the documents and stuff like that. So far, it's mostly like they seem to be taking what they can from the notes and trying to apply it to a world map to see what comes out of it.
Later, I'm going to look in the journal, and I'm going to want to
cross-reference. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I like it.
I think I'd walk over and be like, point to documents and say in German, "May I?" Like, as like a help.
So they'll look up at the officer, and the officer will just sort of like give them a hand, like a loose hand wave, and they sort of like push over a couple of documents to you.
Cool. So you have to roll stuff to like piece together what's on them.
Yeah, it's in like, it's not in German. It is in English. However, it's almost gibberish from what you're understanding. He's like, Sir Wesley's mentioned a lot of stuff in here that makes absolutely no sense to you, and you've spent your entire academic career poring over what you could of. So, what were you before you went into researching Hollow Earth? Like, did you have a?
I was a history researcher, like history of ancient civilizations.
And what tipped you off to the existence of Hollow Earth?
Probably like maybe I was like super against it at first, but then like.
So what? Like you just heard rumorings in like Yale or something like that?
like murmurings in like the academic community,
Mhm.
and like, oh, this is bullshit. Oh, this is so stupid. And then I started like actually rethinking about it. I'm like, we don't know where any of these places actually went. Maybe it's a thing. So I started researching.
Mhm. Okay.
So could I do the academics history just to see if any of it makes sense?
Um, yeah, I would say that at this point, because here's the thing about the academics history check that I'm going to make you do. I'm going to make you do it at a 9, difficulty 9, only because the information that you've had in your entire career pales in comparison to the stuff that you're about to potentially uncover.
Most of it's rumors and stories and made up anyway. So
Exactly, right? So you're
it
comparing.
could actually conflict.
Yeah. So with that in mind, that's sort of what's going on there. So go ahead and make that check for me, please.
Dice pool modifier 0, difficulty 9.
That's right, yeah.
All right. 1 success.
Interesting. And you got that on the speciality as well. That's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Okay, so
Maybe most of it is just like gibberish, but there's a certain section that sticks out.
yeah.
Or something I've seen before.
Yeah, so it's like what's sort of come about mostly is a lot of the things that come up in your research doesn't necessarily translate to what they're looking at here. But the thing that keeps coming up is a word that you've never really seen before, and you know they've sort of cross references the information that they have against the text that they've uncovered, like that special strange text that you saw, and they've come up with the word everlife. And they've sort of started taking that word everlife and applying it to the documents that Sir Wesley had translated in English, and they're finding all points and references of the word everlife, and they're comparing it against what they've found in the documents. Any notes, locations, etc., are being jotted down on the map. Any numbers that might be coordinates or have anything to do with latitude or longitude, or maybe like some sort of like code or anything like that. They're stretching real far. They're pinning lots of pins on the map. And what you've found, the word everlife, they're looking at it the wrong way, essentially. For you, everlife doesn't necessarily mean anything powerful or anything like that, but more you go back to biblical texts when you think of everlife, like ancient history, academics. That's the sort of thing that sort of transpires in your mind. And what comes to mind for you is the biblical story of Adam and Eve, basically. And how they had an infinite garden and infinite life until they, got too greedy, essentially.
Yeah. So I think I'll get their attention somehow, and point my finger on the map to Israel. Just like try to give them the hint. That's like Everlife is Eden. If they know what Eden means.
They both look. Are you saying this in German to them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They both look at you and they're just like. They like both sigh and they start going through all the papers again.
It's so obvious.
God damn it. Yeah. So they basically just they start like taking off all the pins and stuff like that. And they start going off. Going through all the information that they have at this point. Did anyone else want to try and see if they can make heads or tails of what's going on here?
I'd probably look at the map and just see the kind of places they have marked out.
So, do you have any skills that relate to any sort of map work or anything like that?
Not really, other than...
What about investigation or anything like that?
No. But I'm curious why I'm here. Like, I feel like the only reason I would be here is just if something needed to be killed. So I'm thinking, like, where are they wanting us to go? Is it like the middle of Africa? Am I gonna go fight polar bears?
Have you ever been to? Well, let's go, or maybe let's do this a straight intelligence check here. This will be difficulty 5
Always doing that in the back of my head.
with a
I'm
-2, by the way, because you don't.
Oh, sorry.
I'm also thinking if he's here, that means they probably want him to kill something.
Okay, so 2 successes. Cool. Yeah. So when it comes to what you've been tasked with, you think back to what Sir Wesley has been tasking you to do, and it's mostly like if you look at the map and think about where he sent you to find the game that you found, a lot of it's not connected to each other, right? Like it seems random to you, but he might have had you go to these locations to, well, I guess investigate them.
Okay.
Maybe
So
even like find his to prove whether or not there's anything unique there. And you being a man that likes to hunt down big and dangerous game, if there was, say, I don't know, a portal or a gateway to a completely unique world, and maybe you brought back the head of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, that might be something.
Yeah,
that...
I think some of the expeditions he sent me on have kind of basically been, hey, you should go check out this place and see if there's anything really weird there. Bring back some rare specimens.
Yeah. So a lot of that's the sort of stuff that's coming to mind when you think, like, a lot of the places that on this map are almost like essentially lining up with what you've said. And, you know, if you look through the notes or spy some of the notes, yeah, like the latitude and longitude almost matches to the places that he sent you to explore.
Okay, so I'm getting an idea of why I'm here then.
So what about you, Solomon?
I'm really just if I kind of got my good look, I'm gonna go try to find a corner or someplace where I can look at the journal and cross-reference.
All right.
But my point is, I don't want anybody to see that I have it. But, I mean, any German.
Maybe you excuse yourself to a lavatory or something like that.
Sure.
If I see him leaving, I'll like, if I can whisper a word to him, just like tell him the word that I saw that made sense from the documents, just ever life. Look for that.
Yeah. I'll tell him I have an idea. I'm gonna go check the journal. I say it in English.
Yeah. So, why don't we get a? Do you have any sort of academics? Or investigation might be better in this case. Do you have investigation?
No.
Okay. What intelligence skills do you have right now?
Medicine, bureaucracy, linguistics, science, biology. Survival.
You know what? Let's do linguistics. I think that'll probably be the most appropriate for the situation. So go ahead and give me a. We'll make this a 9 as well. Mostly because you're trying to find a word in a language you've never seen before, but. Okay, linguistics 6, cool. All right, yeah, you get a success. So yeah, you scour this text, looking for any word that resembles Eden. You're going through the margins. You're finding something with your 4 from before. You definitely find like identical characters in this book, this worn book of text that you've never seen before. You match up Eden. You get a few hits. It's surprisingly little amount of references to, Everlife in this book.
Even the mere mention of something like Everlife has immediate connotations to regeneration, and so intrigued, and I am fully already committed to finding out where this goes.
Yeah.
So now I am trying to find the next step. What is the path? What is the journey? If it's just to follow this submarine wherever it goes, I will tuck the journal back in my coat pocket. I will leave, and I will find a place to basically sit, I guess, and wait.
Yeah, as you flush the toilet, you feel the U-boat chug from underneath you and start moving. What about you, Charles? Is there anything that you would like to attempt to do to make heads or tail as to why you're in this situation?
No, he's standing around very happily, just passing time.
Yeah.
He's basically waiting for Woodbury to tell him what's going on. So aside from that,
I mean, he's not. He. I mean, he's about as included as you'd think an NPC would be. So
I can imagine he's kind of just sitting there, kind of humming and looking around, like, "Oh, this is a nice U-boat you've got here."
Yeah, pretty much.
So you know how you see people on the bus in modern times that aren't looking at their phone? That's Woodbury. Yeah. He's perfectly content to just stand and look outside or people watch or whatever. He doesn't move. He has one hand behind his back, the other at his side, and he just stands there. But yeah, the destination is set. Israel, Jerusalem.
Oh, sorry. I have updated his skills, so he has Woodbury has empathy, drive, and investigation as well now.
Okay, great, perfect. Well, I thought you had linguistics. Oh, you added. Oh no, this is from his level up. Okay.
From the level up, yeah. So he has firearms, linguistics, survival, investigation, empathy, and drive.
Great.
Yeah, let's just call it Jerusalem, because Israel didn't exist.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, Jerusalem probably would be the more accurate term. So you guys, we get the overland map again of the red dotted line being drawn towards Jerusalem, and we arrive at a dock, in your small little dinghy that you were in before, and you guys are boarding. Like, you have a couple of German soldiers with you, and they, you've gotten to know them over the past several weeks that you've been out at sea, or months, I guess would probably be more appropriate. And they turn to you and say, are you ready to find this place? Where do we go now? You are the experts, after all. No?
Are they speaking German or English?
This is English, yeah.
Well, there's no map that actually has the Garden of Eden on it, so I suppose we'll have to go look at the best historical sources we can find. Art.
And with that, they both turn and look at each other and nod. And the camera pans out and looks over the city as we fade to black. And I guess that's our first session in the bag. So yeah, shit. Surprisingly, you get through a lot when you do a lot of montages and skipping of travel and stuff like that. So I'm actually surprised we managed to make it this far. So let's do some shout outs and call it a show. Let's start with you, Mr. Drummer Boy. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify as Drummer Boy as well.
Yeah.
Actually, I just got a song just went up today on my Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
If you know Roleplay Blades, I did a fan song for that. It finally went up on Spotify. And yeah, if you'd like to have some of my music, I also have a Patreon where you can tell me what to write, pretty much. It's basically D&D setting music. People tell me what to write, and I write it. And people can have it to use in their games.
Have you got any music in there that would suit an Indiana Jones pulpy theme Nazi kicking adventure?
Not yet. I've only got two. I only started this like 2 months ago. So the two tunes that I have in there right now are like an Eastern village theme, like a medieval mythology one. And then the one I'm going to be releasing it on the 16th. I just finished the rough mixes today, and it's more of a kind of like gothic, kind of bloodborne, kind of soulsy kind of thing. Yeah. So that might be appropriate for some parts of this game, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe if you guys want Indiana Jones music, just back me at the $5 level or something and vote the hell out of it.
Nice.
So,
speaking about Indiana Jones music, let's go to the man who creates fresh memes on the internet. I don't fucking know where I'm going. Sheepdog, hey, what up? How you doing?
I'm Sheepdog Gaming on YouTube. Search for me, you can find me. Yeah, I had a lot of fun today. It's a very different character from what I played last on Die Party.
Basically, you've made a weird character because I'm basically playing your character.
hacks.
I think that means that your NPC is going to be killed.
Yeah, probably. But no, I mean, he's the weird thing about him is he's not investigative or perceptive or anything like that. Once we get into a fight, he'll do quite well. But yeah. For now, he's just kind of, I don't know, a British tourist looking around being like, wow, this is all jolly interesting.
Swept up in a Nazi conspiracy from day one.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think you guys would go along with it. I honestly thought you guys would be like, hold up, them be Nazis. But
Well, to be fair, my character hasn't really realized they're Nazis yet, so...
all right.
I mean, the last thing he saw was an American impersonating a Nazi, and then there's more Nazis. These must be Americans impersonating Nazis.
Yeah.
We're undercover.
Yeah, he's very sure that we're on like some special intelligence operation with undercovers, Americans, basically.
For me, like at this time in history, like the Nazi Party wasn't quite there yet. If that makes sense.
Well, let's be 100% clear. This is the Thule Society, powered by the Nazi regime. So like, it's a little different. But yeah,
I'm just trying to see if they can, like, if they're researching Hollow Earth, I want to get there and show all those friggin' patsies at the top of Yale that it actually exists.
Yeah. Doc Gast, my man from the motherland.
Yo.
What up?
Yo. You can find me at doc_gast on Twitter or right here for Polyrhythm.
Polyrhythm, that's right. Yeah, that's tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, it's not
yeah,
tomorrow.
It's
Yeah.
Thursday.
No, it's Friday, Thursday for you,
Yeah.
I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, for a game about punching Nazis, we sure seem to be working with them an awful lot.
I mean, I can't
We haven't actually punched a Nazi yet. We're just befriending them.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that I didn't expect you guys to go along with it, but it all work out. I mean, maybe you'll turn the tables on them when you get the next opportunity. So, yeah, we'll see.
Maybe I've already killed several on the U-boat.
I'm just wearing this skin. And last but not least, we have Mr. Graham Complete. What up, sir? How you doing? Where can
Pretty
people
good.
find you?
Pretty good.
Okay, where can people find your stuff?
Always be making 3 words. Search that. It's the only thing that comes up.
Really? Interesting. Okay, well, great. Thanks for pimping yourself, I guess. Jesus Christ. So Graham makes as a cooking show, and he makes a lot of stuff, especially like D&D memorabilia and whatnot straight from the the player's guide, GM's guide, and that sort of stuff. What is that? I can't really see that. But you made that. Yeah. Is there any way to see my companion tier submission? You should be able to see it on the page. By the way, guys, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the first outing of Die Party Abyss. This episode was definitely brought to you by the Patreon support that we've had. If you want to go and create some legendary Nazi villains, you have the opportunity to do that. Just head on over to patreon.com/Henley and check out all the stuff that we have on offer up till now. If you haven't already done so, consider following the channel. And if you're feeling real saucy, why not subscribe? Join the cockpit and get access to the best emotes on Twitch. What's going on tomorrow? We actually have Die Party Dead Man's Crest. We might be returning to that. I don't know, though. It's hard to say because the hurricane has displaced one of our players. And we're only on the second episode of that. So it's kind of like a big break that we're on, I guess. But we are going to come back to that because the first episode was amazing. So yeah, it's going to be interesting when we finally get back to that. But we have to wait for everyone to come back safely to their homes before we can do it. So it's just unfortunate the way that works. And tomorrow morning, in a couple hours, we will be continuing our Spooktember offerings. We are going to be moving on to Resident Evil 4. Hopefully actually get some scary games going. I don't know. We'll see. But then Polyrhythm on Thursday. And yeah, if you want to find out more, head over to the schedule, !schedule in the chat. But we're going to leave it there. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm excited to see what everyone thought of the show. Leave your comments on the Discord or on the channel, and I'll see them. And hopefully we can continue to make this game excellent. So we'll be back next week, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.